Not giving Donald Trump exactly the data or the answers or the responses he wants, the latest of whom being the CDC director, who wasn't in line with the HHS secretary enough. Donald Trump rolled out an actual red carpet and built a blue platform to stand on together next to a world leader well known to be a vicious dictator and wanted for war crimes by the ICC. Trump has floated stopping states from voting by mail and from using voting machines. And that's just a few. It would take the whole hour to go through all of them.
This morning, a hearing is now set for 10 a.m. this morning in Washington, D.C., after Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook filed a lawsuit against President Trump. Claiming that his attempt to remove her from her position is unlawful, she's asking to remain an active member of the board. In her lawsuit, which also names the Fed's Board of Governors and Chair Jerome Powell as defendants, Cook describes her ouster as unprecedented and illegal. The filing argues that the president does not have the power to unilaterally redefine cause, completely unmoored to case law, history and tradition, and conclude without evidence that he has found it. Trump has accused Cook of mortgage fraud, but she has not been charged with a crime.
Citizens are now at the mercy of a rogue, highly incompetent group of individuals who don't, at the end of the day, in my estimation, have the health care of the American people in mind. To Vaughn's point, you've got young kids who are going to be going to school this fall, it already started, and we've already seen pockets of measles exploding around the country. You think that's not going to get worse? Of course it is. And yet, we don't have the vaccines to protect the kids. What the hell are we doing as a country now when we have dumbed down medical care to the point where the idiocracy is telling smart scientists they don't know what they're doing?
Yeah, I can't speak to all of that, but I can say that,
Speak to enough of it. We good.
It is a global, preeminent public health agency, and I have been here for 30 years. I've worked with multiple different administrations. I was willing to work with this administration, but I find that the transparency is not there, and the possibility that the information that comes out from the secretary over the next several weeks will be something that I will not be able to support, and that the American public will have to call into question. And so that's a place I've never been before. I don't like being in that place, but I do want everyone to know that, American people to know that CDC should be the place where you get your information, where you find out how to protect yourself, to get the recommendations. And if we're not able to do that, we'll have to find some other way.
This is why none of these a-holes can lecture anyone on compassion. The most compassionate people on this planet are trying to stop the trans delusion. The least compassionate are the people in the media, academia, and politicians who enabled this hysteria of horror. What is so glaring about the trans cult? Apparently your identity is the only thing that matters until you do something awful. Then it's the least important variable. Then you look at everything else. You talk about guns, but you suddenly, it's all of a sudden like, oh, we can't talk about that. What was it, the other trans shooter that they actually hid her identity? Mm-hmm. In this manifesto that this creep wrote, he said he was tired of being trans, and that he had wished he had never brainwashed himself. What more do you need straight from the monster's mouth? Politicians, activists, teachers, you built this. You could have listened to the warnings. We were talking about this on this show for years. You amplified a hysterical, literally hysterical phenomenon that was going no place good. You created a poisonous program that twisted young minds for destruction, a nihilistic place to be when you deny biology and they have nowhere to go. So all of these media arguments, what you're seeing there among those people, it's to escape their own culpability in the reality that they created. So forget the layer of mental illness and gun control. The origin of the evil lies in the creation of a mindset that indulged a delusional self, ruining connections with fellow human beings. So that trans, by ascribing extreme aggrieved mentality, then gets directed against society, so this person feels justified in killing children. His killing resulted from that ideology. And if you don't believe that, you're one dumb asshole.
Trump and his supporters, Vance says this all the time. They constantly push this line that you either care about Americans or you care about immigrants, not both. But it's racist garbage. We're an interconnected society of human beings who depend on each other to survive and thrive. And there's not some neat line you can cleave between Americans and foreigners. We just have neighbors and communities. Trump world says that's bunk, that there's just two sides. Trump world says that to make America great again, you need armed federal officers roaming streets and businesses and Home Depot parking lots in search of people to disappear. And now raids on camps of firefighters as they literally battle the largest wildfire in the American Northwest. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Stephen Miller and their ilk are going to burn the country to the ground if that's what it takes so they can rule over the ashes.
Friday, 29 August, Year of our Lord 2025. We are so jammed today, we're not even going to do the show open. After that great cold open, we are absolutely packed. And our first couple of guests are frontline warriors, Mike Davis, Christina Bobb, Brandon Straka. I want to bring in the Viceroy, Mike Davis first. Mike, I want to pull the camera back in a minute and you're the Viceroy, give us the battlefield of all these important decisions that have been done about President Trump's Article 2 powers. But I got to start with, we're in court right now, of which Mike Davis has informed me, at least through his Twitter feed, is one of the most important things we're fighting on. This is Lisa Cook, the governor of the Federal Reserve, now has, I guess, 3 potential felonies for not understanding how to do a mortgage or kind of doing 3-card money. But you're saying it's more important. All the media's jumped on. Trump wants the majority control of the Fed governors. You're saying something quite different. You've been out there saying, hey, if he can't fire her, if the President of the United States cannot let her go for these activities for a cause, then the whole Federal Reserve structure is unconstitutional and must be just taken apart and rethought. Mike Davis, let's start there, sir.
Yeah, so Lisa Cook is one of the 7 governors on the Federal Reserve Board. She got caught with her hand in the cookie jar 3 times. There is very strong evidence presented by Bill Pulte, one of Trump's housing finance leads, that Lisa Cook committed mortgage fraud. She said that these residences were her primary residence and she got a lower interest rate when in fact they were investment properties. Investment properties have a higher risk of default, and that could harm the whole financial system if people are lying about getting a primary residence when it's not. The Democrats' response is that, we never charge people with mortgage fraud, which is a felony. We don't charge people with mortgage fraud unless it's in connection with other crimes. Well, that's just silly. That means there's amnesty for mortgage fraud, and that sends a message to the entire country: go commit mortgage fraud. Otherwise, there's nothing we're going to do about it. So that's just a dumb argument, and it's a particularly dumb argument when you are one of the governors of the Fed with the responsibility of helping to establish policies for our financial system that affect interest rates. So there's pretty damning evidence against this Lisa Cook. Under our statute for the Federal Reserve, the president can fire these governors for cause. There's clearly cause to fire her if she's committing mortgage fraud one time. There's evidence she committed mortgage fraud several times. And so she should be able to be fired immediately under that statute, which President Trump has done. She's challenging that.
And she is not, and Mike, just for the audience, she is not denied. She bought a house as a primary residence. She then bought another house, said it was a primary residence, the second house, to get the lower rate. She then has been unearthed that she bought a third property, which should have been an investment property, and she listed that as a second home when it was purely an investment property. So she's got a couple of mortgage fraud things, and she's never denied that, right? She's not denied that of all these accusations of mortgage fraud that she didn't do it, correct?
I have not heard any denial, and I don't know how you can deny it. I mean, her signature's on the document, and then you see that it's an investment property instead of her primary residence or a second home. So that's the issue. President Trump has fired her for cause. And she's challenging that, and the Federal Reserve Board is challenging that, and they're trying to make this like it's a play for the Federal Reserve's independence. And that's the problem. That's the bigger problem is that this statutes that created the Federal Reserve 111 years ago or whenever it was that established the Fed, the problem is it essentially created a fourth branch of government that's not allowed by our Constitution. Again, under Article 1, Congress writes the laws. It has the legislative power. Under Article 2, the president executes the laws. He has the executive power, all executive power. Under Article 3, the Supreme Court and the lower federal courts decide cases and controversies of the parties properly before them with redressable claims. That's Article 3 standing, or the judicial power. If you create this Federal Reserve System where the president cannot fire them, they're exercising executive power outside of the president's executive power, and the president has the executive power, all executive power, under Article 2. So if the Federal Reserve wants to fight for this fraudster, Lisa Cook, and say that the president didn't have the statutory power to fire her, then the courts have to say, okay, they're going to have to decide that issue. I think the court's going to say, of course, the president has the power to fire someone for a cause if they're committing mortgage fraud, especially several times. But if they don't, if they say that that's not something that creates cause to fire someone, then the courts are going to have to decide the constitutional question, whether the president has the power under Article 2 of the Constitution to fire this executive branch officer, Lisa Cook at the Fed. And if he does not have that power under the statute, then it's unconstitutional. The Fed is.
But aren't a lot of these alphabet agencies, aren't we getting down to the hub of it, or the nub of it, where these semi-autonomous agencies, they got to be a fish or a fowl, right? I mean, the president in his executive power has to have the ability to set the policy over there to be able to hire and fire people or not. I mean, shouldn't we take this all the way to its ultimate conclusion? Because, here in the world, we're trying to drive the maximalist position every day now, and also to seize the institutions, because the left is melting down because they see exactly what we're trying to do, but we're just not doing it fast enough. Shouldn't the government, shouldn't President Trump's lawyers go in there and just say, hey, look, it's not just about firing Cook. It's about the entire structure of this thing is upside down and it's unconstitutional, sir.
It is unconstitutional. I don't know if we have 5 votes yet on the Supreme Court to go along with that position, but as we saw with the presidential immunity argument, you get out there and you make the political argument, and it's amazing how these judges will find their backbones and actually follow the law if the politics are right. And so we'll be doing that next. I think the Federal Reserve is clearly unconstitutional because the president doesn't have the unilateral power to fire the governors. And so they're exercising executive power at the Fed outside of the president's executive power, and that makes it unconstitutional. And so, look, this is part of the Wilsonian model that we have the founders who wanted separated powers, both vertical and horizontal separation, so we make sure that there's not centralized power, that power belongs to we the people. We loan power to the federal government through our loan agreement called the Constitution, then we divide that power among the 3 branches, and we only give the federal government specific and enumerated power in the Constitution, and whatever power we don't give it in that loan agreement belongs to the states and we the people, as confirmed by the 10th Amendment. The Wilsonian model flips that on its head. It consolidates all this power in the federal government, and then further consolidates it in the executive branch, and then further consolidates it in unelected experts who are unaccountable to Congress, the president, the American people.
Hey,
that's unacceptable.
Mike, hang on for 1 second. The Viceroy is with us. We're getting a lesson here. Very important for end of summer. Back to school. We're back to school with the Viceroy. A huge amount of big cases are being sorted out right now. Back in a moment.
No matter what you drive, there's only one guarantee. It's gonna break down.
I had a sensor light up on my dashboard.
There was a popping noise.
The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
Your next breakdown could be anytime, anywhere, whether you've got the money to fix it or not.
It was a thermostat, $2,600.
Seat sensor, $1,400.
But if you've got endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again. no matter how much it cost them to cover it.
In my first year with Endurance, they covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
For Endurance to pay over $7,000 to have my vehicle repaired is phenomenal.
It was like almost a $6,000 job. If I didn't have Endurance, I would have had to pay for that or just trash the whole car and start again.
If your car's out of warranty, a transmission can easily cost you $4,000.
And an engine? Over $7,000, if you're lucky.
With Endurance, those parts are covered, plus hundreds more.
The bad camera unit, $800 to repair a bad wheel bearing, over $1,000. A new steering rack, close to $3,000. Endurance covered it fully.
From engines to water pumps, electronics to key fobs, Endurance has you covered.
Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work.
It's a totally seamless process going to any certified mechanic. They submit the claim directly to Endurance. They get paid, and I'm out the door.
You trust us to do the work, and we trust Endurance to pay us direct.
And the best part, your rate stays locked in no matter how many claims you file.
After I made my first claim to Endurance, I expected my rate to change, and it never did. Like, I have no complaints.
Endurance has been trusted by millions of Americans for nearly 2 decades.
I've had 2 claims for over $4,600.
Less than 1 year after signing up, Endurance saved me over $7,000.
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country.
So if your ride breaks down, Endurance has your back. They'll jump your battery, tow, deliver gas, change a flat, unlock your car, and more.
Call now and we'll upgrade you to a full year of elite benefits free, a $2,000 value.
Endurance just gives me that peace of mind, so I do know that every time I'm on the road, I'm covered.
So, who's gonna pay for your next breakdown? You?
Or Endurance.
Endurance saves drivers thousands, and now you can save even more. Right now, you can get $300 off any plan, plus a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to act now.
Remember, out of warranty doesn't mean out of options. Call Endurance and see how much you can save.
Call 1-833-496-5095 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5095.
Hello, America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored, and it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter.
That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec,
and so many more.
Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
Okay, right now, take your phone out and text Bannon at 989898. Get the ultimate guide for investing in gold and precious metals in the age of Trump. Since right now the Trump administration is in federal court arguing that they can terminate for cause any governor of the Federal Reserve they want. And Mike Davis, the viceroy, is telling us that, hey, the whole structure of the Federal Reserve is unconstitutional. Now, more than ever, when we're taking on the central banks, the central bank of the world, maybe it's time you understand how gold is a hedge against times of financial turbulence. Go check it out today. Get to Philip Patrick and the team. So, Mike Davis, pull the camera back for a second. As to delay is to deny, and they've done a good job of trying to chop block us everywhere with these judges and TROs and all this. In fact, I think they're arguing about a TRO today in federal court. But when you move up the food chain, we're starting to win and win big. And the reason I know that is Mark Elias and the team over at MSNBC. Weissman and Mark Elias look like they're constipated every day. They're not digging life right now. But besides the fact that we're coming after them, Christina Bobb's going to be here in a minute. We're coming after them and give them a dose of their own medicine. They understand they're losing, and they're losing big time to, quite frankly, President Trump and your theory of the case and the execution of that theory, sir.
Yeah, I want to say this. First of all, I want to give tremendous credit to President Trump's legal team, David Warrington in the White House counsel's office, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Solicitor General John Sauer, Stanley Woodward, who's going to be the number 3 at the Justice Department, Chad Mizell, Harmeet Dillon, the whole crew over there at the Justice Department and at the White House counsel's office. They are fighting this unprecedented Republic-ending lawfare every day, this judicial sabotage by these judges, these activist judges, Democrat activist judges, and these Democrat hellholes who are issuing these injunctions trying to stop the president from exercising his core Article 2 executive power. And these judicial saboteurs are winning short-term battles, but they are losing the war. And they're going to lose the war in a big way. And this is what I mean by this. I always thought that it would take 20 years for us to get the federal government's back into the place that our founders intended, where the federal government has specific, enumerated, and divided powers, and the rest of the power belongs to the states and we the people, as confirmed by the 10th Amendment. By these Democrat activist plaintiffs and attorneys and judges and other activists doing this judicial sabotage, they are fast forwarding our project, where hopefully I'll be able to retire at the end of the Trump administration and hand off the Article 3 project to someone else, because the job will be done. The federal government will be dismantled by the federal judiciary, the plumbers, as I call them, because I always say that the political branches are never going to drain the swamp. Why would the reptiles drain the swamp? So we're going to do it through the judges, where they strike down these executive branch agencies as unconstitutional because they're not permitted by the Constitution. So I say to these activists, keep going, keep doing your judicial sabotage. Go get your win with some DEI misfits in D.C. or New York or wherever you get some Biden or Obama judge to enjoin the president of the United States. And then when the president wins at the Supreme Court of the United States, that's going to be binding on the whole country forever.
The other thing and we're having these wins now, the other thing I might add is that they are so still totally understaffed. When you just named the team right there, those are like the heads, those are the starters. You would normally hope you had 100 lawyers underneath it. We just don't right now because of just hiring and the whole thing with the confirmation process. What do you see going forward? We got these wins right now. I know you got to bounce, but and this is huge. This is one of the things we talked about at the beginning. We got to get this legal right because this is the only way they're going to stop us. We've argued for maximization and urgency and do it every day and seize control of these institutions. When we get back next week at the beginning of everybody's back and it's going to be, just absolute open warfare, where do you see us heading on this?
Yeah, I would say this is the most important thing that we're going to do as the War Room Posse is to make enough noise, provide the political cover so these Republican lawyers and these conservative judges find and keep their backbones and they follow the Constitution. And the most important project, why we're doing the Article 3 project, why we're getting constitutionalist judges on the bench, why we're getting good people in the Justice Department, bold and fearless judges, bold and fearless Justice Department officials, bold and fearless people working for Dave Warrington's team at the White House. The reason we're doing this is we have a window of opportunity with President Trump, who understands the threat we face from the deep state, from these big government agencies, and we have a 4-year opportunity, a 4-year window to get the job done and dismantle most of the executive branch and return power back to the states and the people. And this is not theoretical. We have seen this with COVID lockdowns. We have seen this with so many other instances when there is concentrated power in Washington, D.C., the American people pay the price. And it's not what our founders intended. We don't care what the experts think. We don't care about the Wilsonian model where the experts in Washington, D.C., the Tony Fauci's of the world, get to decide whether we go outside on a particular day, or if we ride on a plane, or if we have to wear masks, or if we have to take off our mask between bites and sips, as they would say. No, we didn't agree to that as we the people, and we certainly did not agree to an invasion of our country and changing our population because the Democrats want to open our border, and these Democrat judges say that there's somehow constitutional due process rights for these illegal immigrants who have invaded our country. Yeah. These are crucial fights that we are fighting every day at the Article 3 project with the War Room Posse, and we have to win. And we have to win this over the next 4 years, or we're going to lose our country.
Deconstructing the administrative state and taking down the deep state, and of course, Justice Gorsuch's clerk, is at the tip of the spear of that. Mike Davis, where do people go for Article 3, particularly this weekend, the end of the summer, where they go and get all the content, check it out, see if they want to support you guys?
Article3project.org, article number 3project.org. You can follow us on social media, donate, but only what you can afford, but take action. One of the big action items is in the middle there, to repeal the D.C. Home Rule Act of 1973. That is a crucial one. Let's light up both of your home state senators and your U.S. House rep and tell them to repeal this unconstitutional D.C. Home Rule Act of 1973 that's let corrupt, local, incompetent Democrat politicians hold hostage our nation's capital to crime and corruption.
Amen, brother. Thank you, Mike. Let's everybody go over there today. Check out the home rule. There's so much more. We're engaged now in the courts. It's just incredible. We got two warriors. One's taken to the streets. The other's taken to counter lawfare. Christina Bobb. So, Christina, and we keep talking about the convergence of factors to make sure that, because if you look at demographics, if you look at the census, if you look at our redistricting, if you look at every element of it, another key point is the actual elections themselves. President Trump's got an executive order, mail-in ballots. Two things: Heather Honey, and then what's happening in Fulton County. You've been the tip of the spear of both of these. Tell me about the magnificence of having Heather Honey is now the leading official. And I know it's good because Mark Elias, literally for 48 hours, has been apoplectic over at MSNBC. How important is her selection, ma'am?
Yeah. As he should be. He should be very afraid of Heather Honey. She's fantastic, and I applaud DHS for actually bringing her on and putting her in the position that they did. She is an investigator. She did a lot of the investigation from 2020, and I believe she'd been working on elections prior to that. She's the one that did all the math and put the spreadsheet together to show that there were about 120 additional votes in Pennsylvania, more votes than voters, that whole narrative that was out there. She was the one that uncovered that. The left came out and said, oh, that's not true. That's been debunked. But I've never seen anywhere where anyone has corrected her math. I mean, her maths. So she got it right. She's causing Mark Elias to have a conniption, which is a very, very good day. She's fantastic. She's a hard worker. She's just a generally good person who cares about this country. She's exactly what we need there. And they could not have picked a better person for that position.
What is going on? That's Pennsylvania. Heather Honey now has been elevated. She's a hammer. She's a warrior. What in the hell is going on down in Georgia and Fulton County, ma'am?
Yeah, they're throwing sand in the gears. And Mike Davis in the earlier segment did a fantastic job of laying out at the lower level, how they're trying to use the courts just to stall and just to try to make things difficult. Because as he said, we have about, 3 to 4 years to get this done, or we could lose everything forever. And we're on track to get it done. Down in Fulton County, it's required that Fulton County have 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and I believe an independent on their election board. The Board of Commissioners, which is above the election board, is refusing to seat the 2 Republicans on the board, and they're not allowed to participate. They're not officially on the board yet. The Republican GOP has gone to court 3 times now to get a court order saying, hey, our Republicans need to be seated. And 3 times now, the court has said, yeah, they do. And they have issued orders to the county commissioners saying, you need to seat the Republicans on the board. They're lawfully appointed. There's no legal reason that they can't be on the board. They meet all the requirements and they went through the proper process. So put them on the board. And the commissioners are just saying, no, we're just not going to do it. So finally on Wednesday, they went back of this week, just a couple days ago, they went back and got an order from the judge getting a contempt order, holding the county commissioners in contempt, $10,000 fine per day that they do not seat these Republicans. I understand that the county has appealed so that...
Christina, just hang on 1 second. We're going to go back to Fulton County. Also Arizona. Brandon Straka is going to join us about New York. And Jim Rickards, big deal with the Chinese Communist Party this weekend, hosting a big old parade. Back in a moment.
Fellow Americans, did you know a war is being waged right now for how you spend your hard-earned dollars? Over 100 countries worldwide are preparing to switch to a digital currency. Now, this means cash will be replaced by money governments can monitor and track. This tracking makes it possible to collect data from every purchase you make and the ability to decide what you can buy and when you can buy it. What's more, your assets can be frozen or even seized. I'm appalled at such an assault on financial privacy. My friends at Swiss America have a report called The Secret War on Cash with an action plan to protect your financial privacy. So please, call or text the number on your screen for a free copy. With the growing reality of a government-backed digital currency, the time to act is now. So call or text the number on your screen for your free Secret War report.
When the kids turn unholy, Harrelson's Own keeps my patience divine.
When work flies out of control, Harrelson's Own keeps me cool as a cucumber.
The device madness never ends, but Harrelson's Own keeps me zen.
Life can be chaotic, but Harrelson's Own CBD helps keep you calm through any storm. Harrelson's Own consistently delivers you full mind and body homeostasis. It's an organic, full-spectrum CBD in a refreshing oral spray. Our nano-emulsified technology makes it completely water-soluble, so your body absorbs it immediately. You'll start to feel it in seconds, not 60 minutes. It just makes everything feel better.
And it helps me just take the edge off. It helps me relax. It helps me be there with my kids.
I swear I'm like a mental ninja. Like nothing can throw me off balance.
No matter how many things come at me, I'm like, boom, handled, next. I'm like crushing it all day long.
Well, some people take it for a release from stress. Some take it to get rid of pain. Others just take it for general well-being. For me, Brett Harrelson, it just makes everything about my day a little better.
Give your life a boost.
It's just the best you've ever felt in your natural state.
My happiness in a bottle is the best.
So to sum it all up, you're going to feel the benefits quickly, love the way it feels, and like the way it tastes. Pay a fair price, and you're going to thank us for it. We are so confident you're going to be satisfied that we back every bottle with a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Give Harrelson's Own a try, from our family to yours. Go to HO.com to order Harrelson's Own now. Yep, it's that easy. Just our initials, HO.com.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, just to make sure we can connect some dots here, we're listening. The actual arguments going on right now about the governor of the Federal Reserve is kind of what we talked about with Mike Davis. And they're saying right now the issue of cause and what scope the president has defined, what that means is now being discussed in the hearing. This is the thrust of the case. The president is arguing that he has broad discretion to determine what meets the mark of for cause to terminate her. What Davis and I are saying, I think, is even deeper, and I think that this is where they ought to go after they get some time, is that the entire structure of the Federal Reserve is unconstitutional, the way it's structured. The president doesn't need cause. He can just walk in and say, hey, look, boom, I don't like you as governor. You're gone. Folks, just write that down with your number 2 principle. This is where this thing's going to go. You guys out there that don't like the Fed and are Jacksonian populists want to take it down, this is going to be our angle of attack. Wait for it. Very important. Christina, finish with Fulton County because this is a big deal. And, hey, I do kind of admire the folks down there, the radical Democrats. They're saying, screw you. Run up the bill. We don't care. We don't know. We're not going to let you. We're going to steal elections. We're going to steal them how we're going to steal them in broad daylight. You're not going to do anything about it. Your thoughts, ma'am?
It's pretty brazen. It's kind of shocking. It would be nice if a lot of Republicans had half the backbone that these Democrats have. They're just thumbing their nose in the face of the judge. But so right now they have a contempt ruling where they're being fined $10,000 a day. That ruling is stayed pending appeal. They appealed that ruling, basically immediately. So they're not racking up the fees. We have to wait and see what the Court of Appeals does, which I hope it upholds. I don't know how the Court of Appeals could find any other way, but we'll find out hopefully in the next few days, maybe weeks.
What is going on? And folks, these battles right now, you should know, the Steve Stearns, when they have those podcasts, everybody should get in there because there are fights all over the country. And folks in this voter integrity, and that's every time you get a Heather Honey up there, it's so important. But these fights are going on nonstop. Arizona, give me a quick update on Arizona, ma'am.
On Arizona, for the criminal cases, Chris May is abusing her office. She's still doing that. She's still trying to throw people in jail who support Donald Trump. And I'm still a defendant in that case. She's still trying to throw people in jail for being Trump electors in 2020, which is not illegal. And that case is, I think, going down in flames. It's going down a little slower than I hoped it would, but it doesn't look good. We've got some appeals issues that we're waiting to come out, and I expect her to lose again, and probably the case get dismissed, hopefully relatively soon. Don't forget, we also have the same case open in Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, and the Fani Willis case is still open in Georgia. So every time they point their fingers at Donald Trump and say, oh, he's weaponizing justice, they haven't put their guns down. They're still firing at us. They're still trying to throw us in jail. So don't fall for it. I know they're not, but yeah. Sorry,
their lawfare continues. Real quick, by the way, poll out, I think overnight, Hobbs and Andy Biggs, dead heat in the governor's race in Arizona. He has not won the primary yet, but dead heat right there. Ma'am, your new book, where do people get it? When is it out? The art is amazing. The photography is amazing. That is because it's Dan Floette, my producer, but it's really incredible. Where do people get the book, ma'am?
Yep, it's available for pre-order, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold, and you can find it on my website, ChristinaBobb.com, which Dan also did the art for that. Thank you, Dan. He's amazing. But yeah, it comes out in about 10 days, September 9th, something like that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's get the book, Christina Bobb, Warrior Extraordinaire. Brandon Straka joins us. Brandon, two people I admire, Naomi Wolf and yourself. You're not just fighters and warriors. You're also very smart about selecting your battle space. Naomi's she's doing these things in Brooklyn, and all these young rising stars, Republican, a lot of minorities, African Americans, Asians, Hispanics. It's incredible. About this race is coming up in November. I guess we're in the heat of the race, but the election's in November. You're out there full bore on your flipping Democrats, and you're doing a huge ground game. I don't see it. I don't see where the opposition here is in three camps. They refuse to quit. You got Sliwa with about 12 to 15% of the vote. You got Eric Adams, the mayor, with about 10 or 12, and you got Cuomo with about low 20s. Combined, they are a majority, I think, barely if you take all the smart polling. But they refuse to drop out of the race. So what is you think? What is your solution? You're out there doing a ground game to try to get people signed up. I mean, what's the purpose of this, sir?
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate it. So, let's first address the ground game, and then I'll give you a couple scenarios in which I truly believe we can win. Otherwise, I wouldn't be wasting my time doing this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to organize the largest anti-Mamdani canvassing and outreach effort in New York City. And so we have, at this point, hundreds of volunteers. I want to get that into the thousands after we get into September and the race really starts gearing up. But we're going to be getting people out into the boroughs, knocking on doors, making phone calls, text messaging, and we're going to be targeting a lot of different minority communities and young people who need to either be changing their mind. We're going to be educating people about the dangers and the ills of democratic socialism, the false promises of Zoran Mamdani, and how these policies are going to negatively impact people's lives and New Yorkers. But there's a couple scenarios here in which we can actually win. One is if we get to the point where a couple of these candidates drop out and it's 1-against-1. A poll just came out recently showing that if it's Cuomo versus Mamdani, there's
okay. Full stop. I got that, but that's a masturbatory fantasy. That's just not going to happen. Sliwa's going to be into the end. He's a nutcase. Adams is not. He's an African American, the only African American male in the history of New York City. Lost to Rudy for Dinkins' loss, so he's obligated. If you talk to these guys to continue on, they're just not going to drop out. So give me the scenario where they don't drop out, because that's reality. Cuomo's not going to drop out. He's raised too much money. Those three, for their egos and other reasons, because. I keep telling folks, to lose here, you got the Working People Party and the Democratic Socialists. This guy's Sadiq Khan on steroids. Okay, if you see where London is today, that's where New York City's going. And if you lose this, and they're never going to give up power. They're like the Bolsheviks. So in a scenario where nobody drops out, that Brandon Straka and the President of the United States can't convince these guys to drop out, give me the scenario how you win.
Sure. For the record, that's not my mission to convince them to drop out. But so if we're in a race where nobody is dropping out, what we have to look at is just driving massive voter turnout, because we have 4.7 million registered voters in New York City. Zoran Mamdani got 468,000 votes in the primary. If we can drive, this is going to be a high election, a high voter turnout, I believe, because the nation's eyes are on this race. It's getting a lot of momentum, and people are very concerned about what's going on. So if we can drive close to 50% of the voter turnout and really push it up there, the person who gets 590,000 votes is going to be the winner. And I don't believe that's going to be Zoran Mamdani, because I don't believe he has much support beyond the support that he got in the primary. I'm not even convinced that the voters who came out in the primary are going to come out to vote for him. But we can, the numbers are there. We just have to drive the people out to go out and vote. Traditionally, New York City mayoral races are having low voter turnout, 23%, 25%. It's abysmal. I think this race is going to be different. The eyes of the nation are on it. I think if we can drive the people out and split the vote, the person who ends up with 590,000 votes wins. And I don't think that will be Zoran Mamdani.
Brandon, I want to know, we're going to have you back on a lot. Obviously, it's going to kick up in September. Where do people go, though, for this weekend to go and visit your site, get the information? If they want to talk to your people, talk to them, because I do think this is going to take some convincing of folks to understand exactly what's going on here. I will tell folks, if when Mamdani wins, that he's going to turn New York City, the greatest city in the world and the financial capital of the world, into modern London. He is Sadiq Khan on steroids. And folks, there's been so many big donors and so many of the power brokers in New York that have looked the other way on this thing, and they're whistling past the graveyard right now, because this is happening. And the only way it's going to stop, if someone like you gets some traction, we'll have to see if that happens. But I respect you and Naomi. You two guys are fighters. You also have a pretty good sense of how things can be pulled off. So I want everybody, where do people go this weekend to find more information about what you're trying to accomplish?
Right. So one of the things that we're doing in addition to the canvassing and outreach is we're going to be doing events on an almost weekly basis all over the city. So the next one we have coming up is in Washington Square Park. This Saturday, we're asking people to show up around 12 o'clock. The event begins at 1 o'clock. This is the Rally Against Democratic Socialism. It lasts from 1 to 3. And then immediately after, we're turning it into a live New York City street debate where we're encouraging New Yorkers to approach the microphone and debate our panel, asking questions about democratic socialism, challenging us, debating us. We just did this. Yeah, we did this in Union Square a couple of weeks ago. It was phenomenal. I mean, we had hundreds of people turn out. We had Mamdani supporters show up, get behind the microphone, ask us questions about, what's wrong with socialism. And we're changing hearts and minds. Right. It really is happening. We just have to have these conversations and reach these people. So if anyone wants to learn more about my effort and what I'm doing, please go to walkawaycampaign.com. If you want to show up and join us in Washington Square Park, 1 o'clock this Saturday, go to walkawaycampaign.com/events. We need volunteers. I want an army of thousands of volunteers. Go to walkawaycampaign.com, sign up to be a volunteer. Whether you live in New York City or anywhere in the country, we need remote volunteers to text, send, make phone calls, send emails. And if you're able to give to the cause, go to walkawaycampaign.com, because we need to hire more staff too. But, Steve, I appreciate your skepticism, but I'm being sincere when I say I truly believe we can beat this guy, and I think that we will.
Okay, brother. By the way, Washington Square Park, that'll be fascinating. Hope you guys also bring security. It could get a little wild there. The Democratic Socialists, these brothers roll hard. So hopefully we can stream it tomorrow on War Room. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Brandon.
Thanks, Steve.
At least somebody's punching back up there. The three campaigns have been a disaster. The politicians' campaigns. Jim Rickards, one of the smartest guys on geopolitics. So, Jim. And I want to give people a heads up. On Tuesday the 2nd, we're going to turn a lot of the show over in the morning to make it about contemporary geopolitics, but tie it back to the end of the Second World War. That will be the 80th commemoration of the signing of the surrender instrument of Imperial Japan on the USS Missouri. We'll do a commemoration on that and tie it to politics. But, Jim, the Chinese Communist Party has jumped in front of us. They're having a big parade. They're having a big parade over the next couple of days, and they've invited Modi and Putin, and they both showed up. What is that? 7-4's got a great story on it. What is that? What does that mean? That does not bode well for what we're trying to work on here. That Indians are one of our most important allies, and we need a rapprochement with Russia, sir.
Right. This is around something called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or the SCO. There's been so much attention paid to BRICS, and people have heard a lot about that, and BRICS coming up with a new currency, and that's a big issue, but that's separate. But the people say the BRICS can't work because China and India are members, and they're fighting over the borders in Nepal and the Himalayas and so forth, some of these eastern regions in India. And I've always said that's not a problem, because the BRICS is not a political or military alliance. It's an economic alliance, and you can have good economic relations even if you're fighting over other issues on a different level. Shanghai Cooperation Organization is different. That actually does purport to have some military functions. Now, it's not NATO. They've never done anything militarily, but that is part of their charter, that would be a more proactive political military group. And I've said for a long time, we're going to see over time a convergence of the BRICS and the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. There is a lot of overlap in the members. I don't have the whole list of all the members in front of me, but the big ones, Russia and China and India, are in both. And that's why Putin and Modi are showing up for this. So we're watching what's sometimes called the global South, or really the Asian the Asian landmass. We got back to Mackinder at this point, converging to stand up to the collective West, meaning basically U.S., Canada, NATO, Australia, and a couple other countries. You see the United States stealing $300 billion of lawfully purchased Treasury securities from Russia.
Wow.
And I'm using the word stealing.
Jim, hang on one second. We're going to take a short break. The entire next block, and then some, is Jim Rickards as he explains geopolitics 101 in the modern world. Next.
No matter what you drive, there's only one guarantee. It's gonna break down.
I had a sensor light up on my dashboard.
There was a popping noise.
The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
Your next breakdown could be anytime, anywhere, whether you've got the money to fix it or not.
It was a thermostat, $2,600.
Seat sensor, $1,400.
But if you've got endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again, no matter how much it cost them to cover it.
In my first year with Endurance, they covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
For Endurance to pay over $7,000 to have my vehicle repaired is phenomenal.
It was like almost a $6,000 job. If I didn't have Endurance, I would have had to pay for that, or just trash the whole car and start again.
If your car's out of warranty, a transmission can easily cost you $4,000.
And an engine? Over $7,000, if you're lucky.
With Endurance, those parts are covered, plus hundreds more.
The bad camera unit, $800 to repair a bad wheel bearing, over $1,000. A new steering rack, close to $3,000. Endurance covered it fully.
From engines to water pumps, electronics to key fobs, Endurance has you covered.
Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work.
It's a totally seamless process going to any certified mechanic. They submit the claim directly to Endurance. They get paid, and I'm out the door.
You trust us to do the work, and we trust Endurance to pay us direct.
And the best part, your rate stays locked in no matter how many claims you file.
After I made my first claim to Endurance, I expected my rate to change, and it never did. Like, I have no complaints.
Endurance has been trusted by millions of Americans for nearly 2 decades.
I've had 2 claims for over $4,600.
Less than 1 year after signing up, Endurance saved me over $7,000.
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country.
So if your ride breaks down, Endurance has your back. They'll jump your battery, tow, deliver gas, change a flat, unlock your car, and more.
Call now and we'll upgrade you to a full year of elite benefits free, a $2,000 value.
Endurance just gives me that peace of mind, so I do know that every time I'm on the road, I'm covered.
So, who's gonna pay for your next breakdown? You?
Or Endurance.
Endurance saves drivers thousands, and now you can save even more. Right now, you can get $300 off any plan. Plus a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to act now.
Remember, out of warranty doesn't mean out of options. Call Endurance and see how much you can save.
Call 1-833-496-5095 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5095.
War Room Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, just announced Russ Vogt, our own Russ Vogt, a contributor here for years, obviously now head of OMB. Marco Rubio has like 10 jobs. He just gave one, President Trump, to prove it. Russ Vogt is officially winding down USAID. Officially winding down USAID. In addition, there has been a pocket rescission. $5 billion of additional kind of foreign aid that kind of fell into another pocket. That's gone. Now, these aren't the huge numbers we want, but President Trump has announced they're going to do a pocket rescission on that. And people are just going to have to suck on that. So two good things going from on the managerial and economic side. I want to go back. So the worst nightmare we could have geopolitically, and we're the hemispheric defense crowd and have expeditionary forces, but what you don't want is where you have this kind of civilizational melding on the Eurasian landmass with the Chinese Communist Party as the head gangsters. The Chinese Communist Party, Russia with the KGB, and then you got Modi, one, because we are a little bit at loggerheads on some of these tariffs, and also the buying of the secondary purchasing or the secondary sanctions of purchasing oil from Russia, although I might duly note that China buys more and we haven't sanctioned them. But just walk the audience through. If you have those three civilizational powers, and particularly how Russia wants to, with Persia and Turkey, kind of get their, Dugin's theory for Putin of that part of the Eurasian landmass. If these brothers lock in hard and actually become an alliance, and I might note that Modi has said that he's not going to go to the parade stand. They're there for the meetings, they are going to have meetings, but he's not going to commemorate the 80th victory by staying at the parade stand. How bad is it? How rough is the 21st century going to be for the good old United States of America if those three are partners and have some sort of hard alliance on the Eurasian landmass in an international capital markets, sir?
Well, if they are, again, we're talking Russia, China, and India. There are a lot of ancillary powers, but they're the big three in this context. Yeah, if they form a strong union, either under the auspices of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is meeting now or in the coming days, or BRICS, or some convergence of the two. That's a disaster for the United States. But the problem, Steve, is that this is a self-made disaster. It's the failure of U.S. foreign policy. I keep looking for diplomats, and where are the diplomats? I mean, Steve Wyckoff, I don't know personally. I'll assume he's an excellent real estate negotiator, but he's not really trained in diplomacy. I just don't see that. Now, this is such an easy case, which is, there are only three powers in the world that matter: Russia, China, and the United States. So India's a big deal. Japan's a big deal. I get it. But they're the three with nuclear weapons who kind of call the shots. It should always be 2 against 1, and you should be part of the 2. Now, Nixon did this brilliantly in 1971, 72. He pivoted to China, opened the door, met with Mao Zedong, et cetera, in order to isolate the Soviet Union at the time, really Russia. And it worked. 1989, Berlin Wall falls, 1991, the Soviet Union dissolves. It took time. But that alliance with China basically isolated the Russia, which, Soviet Union. Today, now's the time to pivot to Russia and let the United States and Russia work together to isolate the Communist Party of China. And I've been to China many times, been all over the country. I have good friends there, wonderful people. It's the Communist Party that's the problem, not the people of China. So this is a very obvious case. What are we doing instead? We're listening to Lindsey Graham. We're listening to these warmongers where, Fiona Hill, these phony baloney experts, et cetera. We're treating Russia like a pariah when it should be one of our strongest allies. We don't have to have a treaty with them. We don't have to love them, but we have to work with them. And that would be an obvious one. And the pivot, the thing is, so what's holding that up? Well, the answer is the war in Ukraine. And I think the best thing that came out of the Alaska summit a few weeks ago was, not much did come out of it, but there was one thing. Trump listened to Putin unfiltered. He didn't have Lindsey Graham or Marco Rubio or Mike Waltz or any of these other people filtering Putin's comments. He listened to Putin, and it became very clear there was not going to be an unconditional ceasefire. We've said that on your show 6 months or even a year ago, we said that. But Putin will go for a comprehensive peace treaty with security guarantees. And Trump said, okay, I hear you. Let's go for the peace treaty. Then Wyckoff took the phrase security guarantees, and Putin did say that in the meeting, but Putin's understanding of that and Wyckoff's understanding are completely different. Wyckoff ran off the rails with these Article 5 guarantees, which Putin will never agree to. What Putin meant was, let's have the peace treaty and then have some enforcement, because the U.S. lied about Minsk I, lied about Minsk II, lied about the Maidan Revolution, which is one of these phony baloney CIA, MI6 color revolutions. Putin actually fell for all of it, and he doesn't trust us anymore, and I don't blame him. But what Putin means is China, maybe Turkey, Russia, and the United States, and nobody else. No UK boots on the ground. They don't have that many boots. No French or German boots on the ground. They couldn't put two divisions together if their lives depended on it. But those other four powers I mentioned, just backing this up. That's a deal that can be done. Could be done very quickly. Who cares what Zelensky thinks? Put him on a bus, a plane to Dubai or whatever it takes there, and get it done. At that point, you open the door to rapprochement with Russia. By the way, big deal the other day. ExxonMobil said they were in very preliminary discussions with Rosneft about looking, which is a big Russian oil company, about doing some more new exploration in Siberia, for basic oil in the Arctic area. I don't know this for a fact, but a company like Exxon would never say anything like that unless they had some kind of green light from the White House. You just don't go there. So I take it that Trump is looking at that. So that's all very encouraging. But we got to move quickly on this. It's also the key to Iran. I've said that before. Russia has got Iran very much under its thumb in terms of the S-400 and S-500 anti-aircraft systems, and they're training the Iranians now and a lot else. Well, if you want to dial down the tension with Iran, get Russia on your side. Now, why we can't see any of this, why our diplomats, where's Kissinger, Helen Sonnenfeld, George Marshall, where James Baker, where are these people? We don't have, I go to China, and they say, we love Kissinger, but he's dead. Don't you have anybody else?
Jim, just hang on for 1 second. I'm going to hold you through the break. We're going to go also in the second hour. We're going to talk about the situation in Minnesota and the trans ideology driving it. Also, Dr. Ladapo is going to join us about the CDC and the resignations and firings over there about vaccines. RickardsWarRoom.com is a landing page we set up. Go there today. RickardsWarRoom.com. It's RickardsWarRoom, all one word.com. You get access to Strategic Intelligence, the newsletter that is the C-suite newsletter. Chairman of the boards and CEOs read it. You should too. Also, when you subscribe, Jim Rickards will throw in a free book, Money GPT, about artificial intelligence and fiat currency. Will keep you up at night. Short break. Rickards on the other side.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's Anti-Kibble Breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
US Med, a trusted supplier of diabetes equipment for nearly 30 years, has great news for people living with diabetes and the pain of regular testing. New Medicare and private insurance guidelines have expanded coverage for continuous glucose monitors, even for people not using insulin. The days of repeated, painful finger sticks are over. Now you can wear a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, and eliminate routine finger sticks. US Med has the newest models of CGM, which are more accurate and convenient than ever. CGMs are shown to lower your A1C, increase your time in range, and reduce the risk of hypoglycemic events. Shipping is free, and will even bill your insurer directly. Don't spend one more painful day testing your blood sugar. Call now to get your continuous glucose monitoring system so you can take control of your diabetes and get back to enjoying life.
Call US Med now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
This is the primal scream of a dying regime. Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, welcome. It's Friday, 29 August, year of our Lord 2025. Teeing you folks up for the weekend, the War and Posse, things to think about, put on your agenda. Two, Jim, I know we're pressed for time, so are you. You got to bounce. Two quick things. Number one, Ukraine. After President Trump has the chaperones, they go back. It's all a joke. They don't have the manpower. They don't have the arms. They don't have the money. And more importantly, they don't have the political will. Putin and, Lavrov's quite dismissive of the Western media, trying to question where they're going. And Putin and the Russian army are pounding Ukraine relentlessly. At what time, what is going to be the event you're going to look for when people actually start to talk about Zelensky and this crowd sitting down and either talk about a surrender or just, hey, the war's over, we'll cut a deal and we get what we get, because there's not going to be any security guarantees. It's pretty obvious this is not going to happen. Your thoughts, sir?
It'll be the fall of a city called Pokrovsk. Now, Pokrovsk is a medium-sized city. It's not the biggest city in eastern Ukraine, but it is a major logistics hub, rail, highway, supply depots, et cetera, that Ukraine uses to basically supply their entire, from Ukraine's point of view, the Eastern Front and the line of contact. So when that falls, and people say, it's a stalemate. It's not a stalemate. The Russians are very methodical. They've spent a year surrounding it, taking every village all the way around it. So there's no way in and no way out. And then they go in for the kill. They'll give them a chance to surrender. But Zelensky says, you got to fight to the death. And the Russians are like, okay, bring it on. And so, but when that city falls and that's getting set up, the other big battles, Mariupol in 2022, Bakhmut in 2023, Avdiivka in 2024. Here we are, 2025 is going to be the Battle of Pokrovsk. So that'll be the wake-up call. Hey, Steve, if I could just drop a quick footnote on the Fed situation.
Sure.
Mike Davis gave the high-level, brilliant legal analysis. I'm down in the trenches a little bit more.
Sure.
There's a Fed meeting, an FOMC interest rate policy meeting on September 17th. The expectation has always been that they're going to cut rates. They cut rates at the end of 2024. They haven't cut them at all in 2025, and Trump's been banging the table about that. We're set up for a rate cut on September 17th. What about Lisa Cook? I mean, is she on the board of governors or not? Trump fired her. She's claiming she's still on the board. She's going to be in the room. The Fed punted. They said, we'll abide by the court. So that's a way of doing nothing. They should have sent housekeeping people to clean out her office. So does her vote count? Is there a vacancy? And if she votes for the rate cut and then is subsequently determined that she was fired, does that void the meeting? I mean, this is all unprecedented, by the way. I'm asking these questions, but I want to say this has never happened before. But so that uncertainty factor surrounding whether she is or is not a member of the FOMC and the Board of Governors is now affecting the market, since one of the reasons gold just hit an all-time high today. Might have backed off a couple of bucks, but it ticked 35.01 earlier in the trading. That is an all-time high.
Go went through 3,500. Yep. One last question. The arguments seem to be, they're very narrow. They're saying that you did, is this pretext to fire her? They're really arguing about, she maybe made clerical errors. You don't have the ability to fire her. Your point is if she's not fired and not removed, does it still count as a legitimate open market meeting, and they're talking about rate cuts. Now, Waller, one of the governors, is saying he's seeing a 50 basis. He'd back a 50 basis point cut. Your thoughts, Jim Rickards?
Well, that's right. So they meet for 2 days. So one day they closed door and they talk about it. The next day they announce what they're actually doing. And there is a division. You got Waller and Bowman, who are two Trump appointees, 150. I think Powell will go along with 25. So you're going to get a good debate about that. We'll see what happens. But my guess, my forecast is 25. But there is a debate about 50. You're right about that. But there's already one vacancy on the Board of Governors. It hasn't been filled yet. The White House has mentioned Steve Moran, which would be a great choice. And now do we have a second vacancy in the form of Lisa Cook because of her uncertain legal status? Again, we don't know the answers to these things, but the uncertainty itself is what's driving the markets right now. And there's just a flight to gold because they give me some gold until you people figure this out. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Gold hit an all-time high in the first hour. It hit 3,500, backed off a little bit. Remember, it's not the price of gold, folks. It's the pattern recognition of what drives the value of gold. That's what you got to learn. People are not trying to sell you a fish. They're trying to teach you how to fish. Jim Rickards, rickardswarroom.com. You can learn there with strategic intelligence. Why should people go and get your newsletter, sir?
Steve, we put a lot of work into it. It's 9 or 10,000 words every month. It is our flagship newsletter. We have some other publications, but this is the main one. We cover you can't cover economics, which is our main focus, without doing politics. They're so tightly intertwined. So we do both geopolitics. We've been doing it for a long time. A lot of good great subscribers, and it's growing very quickly. So it is it's our flagship and highly recommended. But what we do, the main thing that we do, we don't regurgitate the news. We tell you what's going to happen next. And our track record on that is very good from Brexit, Trump in 2016, 312 electoral votes. Our forecasting record is, I would say, second to none. So we tell you what's going to happen next.
That's why our audience loves you, sir. Jim, thanks for taking time before holiday weekend. I asked you to come on to tee up people to think about a bunch of things over the weekend. So thank you, man, sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Jim Rickards. I didn't get a chance to talk about Venezuela, but I'll do that. Trita Parsi is going to join us about Persia. We're going to talk about Venezuela also. Very important. I got a cold open. Greg Gutfeld, I think, nailed it yesterday, as he often does. Let's go ahead and play this. I'm bringing in my next guest.
This is why none of these a-holes can lecture anyone on compassion. The most compassionate people on this planet are trying to stop the trans delusion. The least compassionate are the people in the media, academia, and politicians who enabled this hysteria of horror. What is so glaring about the trans cult? Apparently your identity is the only thing that matters until you do something awful. Then it's the least important variable. Then you look at everything else. You talk about guns, but you suddenly, it's all of a sudden like, oh, we can't talk about that. What was it, the other trans shooter that they actually hid her identity? In this manifesto that this creep wrote, he said he was tired of being trans, and that he had wished he had never brainwashed himself. What more do you need? Straight from the monster's mouth. Politicians, activists, teachers, you built this. You could have listened to the warnings. We were talking about this on this show for years. You amplified a hysterical, literally hysterical phenomenon that was going no place good. You created a poisonous program that twisted young minds for destruction, a nihilistic place to be when you deny biology and they have nowhere to go. So all of these media arguments, what you're seeing there among those people, it's to escape their own culpability in the reality that they created. So forget the layer of mental illness and gun control. The origin of the evil lies in the creation of a mindset that indulged a delusional self, ruining connections with fellow human beings. So that trans, by ascribing extreme aggrieved mentality, then gets directed against society, so this person feels justified in killing children. His killing resulted from that ideology. And if you don't believe that, you're one dumb asshole.
Dr. Jill Simons joins us, the executive director of the College of Pediatricians. Doctor, is Greg Gutfeld right, ma'am?
First, thanks for having me on, Steve. And also, my deepest condolences to the families who lost children in this tragedy, including the shooter's family and the whole Annunciation family and my greater Catholic family here in Minnesota. But he's right. Greg Gutfeld is right that it is extremely cruel to tell a child that they're born in the wrong body, and it's dishonest and it's malpractice. And where do you go from there when you tell a child that?
Why did we curate for the audience, MSNBC, CNN, BBC, the New York Times, Washington Post, all day long. They were talking about everything but this, and they never brought up the fact, they never really got into the manifesto, and they never brought up to the fact that this young guy regretted this, deeply regretted it. Why did they do that? Why did they cover it up so much? What are they afraid of? What's the media afraid of in talking about this topic?
So let me speak to the pediatricians, because I think they are driving this, the doctors in my profession. And many people are afraid to tread. They're not experts, so they don't want to comment. I think that's maybe where it starts. But my focus is on the pediatricians. And we know, doctors know, we have the evidence. These so-called gender-affirming care treatments do not improve the mental health outcome of children suffering, questioning their sex. They don't decrease suicides. They don't. And we know that they harm. So doctors know better. And parents and everyone else comes to us for our expert opinion, our expert advice to tell them what to do for their child who is struggling. And we need to be honest with these parents and these children. I tell patients, I tell them things they don't want to hear all the time. They're overweight. They need to exercise more. They have diabetes. They have cancer. You can't lie to a child that they can be any sex they want. They're either a male or a female. And then what happens is that they don't question why a child is struggling with this. And so the whole underlying problem is ignored. And I think the media is just echoing voices they're hearing, this ideology, and it needs to come back to the doctors, because the doctors can stop this today. They can stop this afternoon. They can stop prescribing these hormones, these puberty blockers. They can stop doing surgeries. They can stop recommending that this is how we treat children.
And at your open, you had condolences not just for the families of the children and the school and people at mass, but also the shooter's family. I don't want this to sound too harsh, but why are the pediatricians that work with this young guy, and why are the mother and father not accessories to murder, ma'am?
So, first of all, I have no knowledge of the medical care or mental health care that the shooter may or may not have received. I know what you all know, but I can tell you from families that this tears them apart. And again, these parents are coming to their doctor trying to figure out how to
understand.
help their child.
Ma'am, doc, I got that. I got all that. Just read this guy is voluminous in his manifesto, and thank God now we've got FBI people that will let this manifesto not have to wait for 2 years. It's very clear if you read this and you look at these hideous videos he made. He had thought this thing through, and it was a cry for help about what they had done to him, the pediatricians, his doctor, and his parents. He couldn't have been clearer. So once again, I know you're not a lawyer, but aren't they accessories to the murder of the young kids in that church, ma'am?
Yeah, they need to look at the doctors, and they need to investigate who was caring for this child, what was being prescribed. It's not just about investigating these drugs. It needs to be investigated who's doing this and holding them accountable, because we know better. We have the evidence that they do harm. We don't know what all these hormones do, frankly, but we do know that they cause harm. And it doesn't take a doctor to tell you that they shouldn't be receiving doses of hormones of the opposite sex in these quantities.
Hey, Doc, hang on for 1 second. We're just taking a short commercial break. This manifesto is heart-rendering when you read it, and chilling, and beyond scary. It's incredible. And thank the authorities for putting out the videos and putting out the manifesto. If you have not had a chance to read it, I'll make sure Grace and Mo collect this. over the weekend, you ought to read this. We talk about the transgender ideology all the time. Listen to what Greg Gutfeld said. He absolutely 1,000% nailed it. And this has got to be vetted now, or it's going to continue. It's not going to stop until you make it stop. Short commercial break. Back in the War in just a moment.
I got American faith in America's heart.
No matter what you drive, there's only one guarantee. It's gonna break down.
I had a sensor light up on my dashboard.
There was a popping noise.
The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
Your next breakdown could be anytime, anywhere, whether you've got the money to fix it or not.
It was a thermostat, $2,600.
Seat sensor, $1,400.
But if you've got endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a car repair again, no matter how much it cost them to cover it.
In my first year with Endurance, they covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
For Endurance to pay over $7,000 to have my vehicle repaired is phenomenal.
It was like almost a $6,000 job. If I didn't have Endurance, I would have had to pay for that or just trash the whole car and start again.
If your car's out of warranty, a transmission can easily cost you $4,000.
And an engine? Over $7,000, if you're lucky.
With Endurance, those parts are covered, plus hundreds more.
The bad camera unit, $800 to repair a bad wheel bearing, over $1,000. A new steering rack, close to $3,000. Endurance covered it fully.
From engines to water pumps, electronics to key fobs, Endurance has you covered.
Plus, you pick the mechanic you trust to do the work.
It's a totally seamless process going to any certified mechanic. They submit the claim directly to Endurance. They get paid, and I'm out the door.
You trust us to do the work, and we trust Endurance to pay us direct.
And the best part, your rate stays locked in no matter how many claims you file.
After I made my first claim to Endurance, I expected my rate to change, and it never did. Like, I have no complaints.
Endurance has been trusted by millions of Americans for nearly 2 decades.
I've had 2 claims for over $4,600.
Less than 1 year after signing up, Endurance saved me over $7,000.
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's under 20 years old, Endurance has you covered. Plus, your plan includes 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country.
So if your ride breaks down, Endurance has your back. They'll jump your battery, tow, deliver gas, change a flat, unlock your car, and more.
Call now and we'll upgrade you to a full year of elite benefits free, a $2,000 value.
Endurance just gives me that peace of mind, so I do know that every time I'm on the road, I'm covered.
So, who's gonna pay for your next breakdown? You?
Or Endurance.
Endurance saves drivers thousands, and now you can save even more. Right now, you can get $300 off any plan, plus a year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free, all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. But you have to act now.
Remember, out of warranty doesn't mean out of options. Call Endurance and see how much you can save.
Call 1-833-496-5095 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5095.
Hello, America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored, and it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter.
That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec,
and so many more.
Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
This is why none of these a-holes can lecture anyone on compassion. The most compassionate people on this planet are trying to stop the trans delusion. The least compassionate are the people in the media, academia, and politicians who enabled this hysteria of horror. What is so glaring about the trans cult? Apparently your identity is the only thing that matters until you do something awful. Then it's the least important variable. Then you look at everything else. You talk about guns, but you suddenly, it's all of a sudden like, oh, we can't talk about that. What was it, the other trans shooter that they actually hid her identity? In this manifesto that this creep wrote, he said he was tired of being trans. and that he had wished he had never brainwashed himself. What more do you need straight from the monster's mouth? Politicians, activists, teachers, you built this. You could have listened to the warnings. We were talking about this on this show for years. You amplified a hysterical, literally hysterical phenomenon that was going no place good. You created a poisonous program that twisted young minds for destruction, a nihilistic place to be when you deny biology and they have nowhere to go. So all of these media arguments, what you're seeing there among those people, it's to escape their own culpability in the reality that they created. So forget the layer of mental illness and gun control. The origin of the evil lies in the creation of a mindset that indulged a delusional self, ruining connections with fellow human beings. So that trans, by ascribing extreme aggrieved mentality, then gets directed against society, so this person feels justified in killing children. His killing resulted from that ideology. And if you don't believe that, you're one dumb asshole.
So, doctor, this is a teaching moment. If we lose it, because you have the perfect storm here, including voluminous manifesto from the monster himself. And Gutfeld right there nails culpability and that you built the monster. Who built the monster were the parents and the doctors that treated him. Right, and that's why the mother's retained defense counsel. She's an accessory. She and the father can't bail on this. They're accessories to murder, as are the physicians that attended and created this monster. And the monster is telling you in his manifesto, he's crying for help, saying, "I brainwashed myself. I want to undo this. The last thing I got is to cut my hair." Somebody's got it. They have to be held accountable for what they created and the actions of the monster that they created. Ma'am.
Yep. Steve, my focus is on the physicians. And as a physician, I can talk one-to-one, toe-to-toe with them. They need to look at what they are recommending for children. It's not right. Our colleagues in Europe, UK, they're stopping this. We have the evidence. There's enough evidence that they are harming children. So it needs to stop with the doctors. Absolutely, they need to look into who was behind this. It says in his manifesto, like I said, I know what you know, but they need to look into what was going on, who was treating for this child. And they hide behind these protocols that they say are consensus, that were developed by frauds in WPATH, frankly. And they hide behind those and say it's consensus. Well, I'm executive director of an organization, and we are strong. We've got signatures on the Doctors Protecting Children Declaration, that it's not consensus. There are pediatricians all over the country, all over the world, that do not agree with these protocols, and we're being silenced. So it needs to come out. They need to be exposed for promoting these harmful protocols.
Because now it's they've made it everybody else's problem. By the way, he's a grown ass man, right? This guy's an adult. He's a man. He's a grown man. That's what's got to be brought up here. And you can't call him by the name and the girl. He's not a girl. He's a man. He is a man. Okay, a monster who was created by these physicians, his parents, also himself. But like he said, he wished he hadn't brainwashed himself. Just absolutely despicable. And the media covering up for this, and the whole thing in the New York Times. What's the motive? Incredible. Doc, where do they go to your organization to find out more information about this? Because now you got to take this on. The people have tapped this thing along long enough, and now it's in all MSNBC up there crying for the victims. Don't cry for the victims. Let's get justice for the victims and make sure it doesn't happen again. And it's not about the guns. It has nothing to do with the guns. Ma'am, where do people go?
Yep. If people want to help, they can sign the Doctors Protecting Children Declaration and support the brave doctors who are speaking out. They can also go to biologicalintegrity.org. It's a website with resources for parents to educate themselves and pediatricians to educate themselves on the truths about these puberty blockers and these hormones and the appropriate way to care for children with gender dysphoria. And finally, the American College of Pediatricians. We're a trusted voice for what's best for children. We believe in evidence-based medical care for children. They deserve the best. And that's acpeds.org.
Dr. Simons, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for these kids, too. Appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for having me on.
Go to that site. And if Grace and Mo can help organize, people ought to read the manifesto, all of it, and see all the videos. One of my favorite guys, Dr. Ladapo, joins us from Florida. Sir, explain to me what's going on with Bobby Kennedy, because you're the guy during the pandemic that had the most bravery and the most heroism of anybody, and we would have you on all the time. You took incoming from everybody, right? They were coming after you like nobody's business. We know in the Maha movement where we want to go with the science and the radical transparency. So just explain to us what's happened over the last couple of days with these 4 subalterns, senior people at CDC, resigning, the director now being fired by the White House. Exactly what's going on?
Yeah, this was coming. I was waiting for this to happen. It had to happen. And, you think back to the pandemic and you think about how terribly things went with the CDC, a lot of dishonesty about science, a tremendous amount of dishonesty about science, and Americans paid the price with school closures. Bad studies supported that. With masking kids, bad studies supported that. With shutdowns and with promotion of this poison that is, that people call an mRNA COVID-19 vaccine. And the CDC's been behind that, from the beginning. So this had to happen. This had to happen. And I wasn't surprised at all, even as you've seen Robert F. Kennedy Jr. working hard to make changes. And, I know a lot of people want to tell him what to do, and God bless him. Keep telling him what you want him to do. But I also, I have a lot of empathy for the fact that it's tough to be there at the head of an organization, and what's the strategy and how do you implement these things? So, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's taken, I would say, sort of an incremental but kind of decisive steps, right? Making sort of deliberate steps to move us closer to scientific truth and, and freedom, which is critical, right? That's like, if that doesn't matter, nothing matters. And, and the CDC is the one place where he has not been able to make any progress with that. So it had to happen. Either he brings forth his vision of what the country needs, or the leadership of the CDC and the culture of the CDC stays unchanged. Unfortunately, we see their leadership leaving. So the culture is going to change. It's the only way to bring forth the future that Robert F. Kennedy and I'm sure President Trump want.
So this is only going to be resolved by the science, by looking at data and science. And I think that's the question. To get her confirmed and then 30 days later understand that she doesn't support the program of having gold or platinum level science and radical transparency, and then having the 4 people who are the 4 key people at CDC all say they're going to resign, kind of now it makes it about Bobby Kennedy. So when you think about this, what are we talking about as far as the science goes? They talk about mRNA, and I still get on them that they didn't put out enough information about that decision. That decision is fundamental. We agree with it, but you've got to put forward information. You just can't make assertions. You have to put forward information. What are you looking for? Since you've been in the combat of this from the beginning and they tried to destroy you and your career, what would you like to see that could make the case to say, okay, here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to do it in the future, and we're going to restaff with people that understand that, sir?
Honestly, Steve, there is a lot of research out there already, and more research absolutely needs to be done. We've talked, I think together, we've talked about this issue of DNA contamination and whether there's a risk of integration with the human genome, for example, something that the CDC has never touched. So there is a lot of science out there already, and more needs to be done. But you just need good leaders in there. That's the only way you can advance this. So I think it was yesterday there was this rally, if you will, with a bunch of CDC employees leaving their office and going to support these leaders that have resigned. And I listened to what they had to say, and there's this this cultish relationship with vaccines, and this leadership is just unable to objectively evaluate science. And when it comes to vaccines, it's just there's only one possible answer. And if the science doesn't agree, then the science needs to be bent. So that you need good leaders who can objectively look at the science.
Hey, Doc, hang on for 1 second. We're just going to hold you through the break. Dr. Joseph Ladapo joins us from the great state of Florida. Short commercial break. We're going to return to the war in just a moment.
When the kids turn unholy, Harrelson's Own keeps my patience divine.
When work flies out of control, Harrelson's Own keeps me cool as a cucumber.
The device madness never ends, but Harrelson's Own keeps me zen.
Life can be chaotic, but Harrelson's Own CBD helps keep you calm through any storm. Harrelson's Own consistently delivers you full mind and body homeostasis. It's an organic, full-spectrum CBD in a refreshing oral spray. Our nano-emulsified technology makes it completely water-soluble, so your body absorbs it immediately. You'll start to feel it in seconds, not 60 minutes. It just makes everything feel better.
And it helps me just take the edge off. It helps me relax. It helps me be there with my kids.
I swear I'm like a mental ninja. Like nothing can throw me off balance.
No matter how many things come at me, I'm like, boom, handled, next. I'm like crushing it all day long.
Well, some people take it for a release from stress. Some take it to get rid of pain. Others just take it for general well-being. For me, Brett Harrelson, it just makes everything about my day a little better.
Give your life a boost.
It's just the best you've ever felt in your natural state.
My happiness in a bottle is the best.
So to sum it all up, you're going to feel the benefits quickly, love the way it feels, and like the way it tastes. Pay a fair price, and you're going to thank us for it. We are so confident you're going to be satisfied that we back every bottle with a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Give Harrelson's Own a try, from our family to yours. Go to HO.com to order Harrelson's Own now. Yep, it's that easy. Just our initials, HO.com.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone's more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years to buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these troubling times.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, Dr. Ladapo, you mentioned we don't clip them. Maybe we'll play later. But when the four resigned, the CDC staff were greeting them like Clemson greets their football team and they go on the football field. Yeah. I mean, it was like a cult meeting. That shows you that it's much deeper than just the four. It's the entire. This is what I keep saying, but it sees the institution. The CDC is so far gone, you got to kind of start over again. First off, are you open to take over CDC right now? Jim O'Neill, the deputy at HHS, is doing an interim basis. But are you open to do it, sir?
Well, no one's talked to me. No one said anything to me. RFK Jr. is a friend of mine. You know, if they were interested in that, I would certainly take it seriously. It would be a great honor. I have to talk to my wife and my kids and all that stuff. But, whoever they pick, they need a very strong leader. Because like you said, at this rally, I mean, they look like there were hundreds of employees out there. And It's not irredeemable. I mean, the right leadership can show people which direction to go and help them understand why other beliefs are important. Another way of thinking about things are important. Not everyone's going to come along, but the right leadership can make a difference. But that's critical. That is like absolutely critical.
Where do people go to find out more about you? Because this is going to become quite heated, and I know you're going to have a very specific point of view what has to happen to CDC. I say you got to take it down towards the deck plates and rebuild it because it's so far gone. And that rally yesterday shows you that. Doc, where do people go on your social media website to find out about your fight? You've been fighting on this in the front lines for years now.
Yeah. And Steve, I'll just say briefly, I agree with you, but there are a lot of good scientists too. So there's a lot of talent there. Even in that leadership that left, there's a lot of talent there. They just can't see straight once it comes to vaccines. Like it's just like all the intelligence just steps out of their brain, and it's like and they can't think straight anymore. So people can look up my book, Transcend Fear: Blueprint for Mindful Leadership and Public Health, and it's available on Amazon and I'm on social media also. So, folks can check that out.
Sir, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on here. I've got Gray Delaney by phone. Gray, can you give us some idea of what's happening, of where we're going on this, right? Because I think it's caught everybody by. Look, it's long needed. I just don't. The process of getting somebody confirmed, and then, instead of getting rid of the 4 initially, let them sit there, and now we're in a jam. And here's my concern: is that Bobby Kennedy is the leader of the Maha movement, and they're coming after him hard. I mean, it started last night. It's increasing, and I'm telling you, they're going to get Cassidy. They're going to get some of these Republicans in the Senate, and when we get back next week, there's going to be a firestorm to remove Bobby Kennedy as Secretary of HHS, and we're going to have to man the ramparts to make sure that doesn't happen, sir.
That's exactly right. And even an example, and Dr. Ladapo talked about the vaccine issue at CDC. It's not just, they go crazy with the vaccine issue. They hid the football at the last ACIP meeting. There was a vote on the RSV monoclonal antibody vaccine or treatment, and they manipulate the data. I know for a fact the CDC did not give any of the data they presented to the committee until about 24 hours before, which is not nearly enough time to review it. In order to try to jam this through, it ended up getting voted on and approved 5-2. Dr. Levy and Dr. Plebsworth were the two that voted against it. That should never have gone through. And so there is such a culture of corruption at the CDC. It has to, as you said, it has to be completely dismantled from the top to the bottom. But they've got a message all. I mean, that's been out in a few Substacks for what happened with that vote. But there has to be sunshine, and they have to go out publicly, principles from HHS on War Room and on CNN and on MSNBC everywhere, and take this message and explain to the American people how corrupt it is and how they have no.
We're going to be pounding,
but
don't you agree that rally yesterday with the 4 shows you it's more than just 4? They've hired people that believe. I mean, it is a complete ideology. And you're either going to get rid of it or you're not. And that's why we have to go all in and say, okay, it seize the institutions. We have to take CDC back down to the deck plates and rebuild it. Otherwise, you're just kidding yourself. You're going to have these mutinies all the time. And so we have to do it, and we have to go on offense. We either go on offense or you're going to lose Bobby Kennedy, to be brutally frank about it, sir.
No, and that was what Trump, I think the biggest change from the first administration to this one is he had people like Mike Pompeo and all these subversives, Tillerson and others, that were undermining, leaking, and it was a miracle that he got through. And he got impeached twice. So they're doing the same playbook to RFK, and that's why it is absolutely critical that he be out in front, and he can't be the only one. It has to be a completely united front from HHS. And they've got some phenomenal people there to make the case, but it cannot be tepid. So you have to lay out this case to the American people, because I think the American people are on Secretary Kennedy's side, 100%.
We just got to get the information out all week, and I'll be putting it out. Next week's going to be a firestorm about this topic. Great. Where do people get you now that you've got more freedom? Where do people go on your social media to actually understand what's really going on?
At SailPGD on X, and then we'll look forward to hitting the ground running when we get back to DC here for a busy September.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. This one's going to be a Man the Ramparts, folks. Absolutely huge. Trita Parsi joins us now from the Quincy Institute. So, Trita, here's the question. It came on the other day, made this incredible case how we got to get very focused or we're going to get dragged in. They're going to try to drag us into Netanyahu's regime in Jerusalem is going to try to drag us into a shooting war with the Persians sometime between late September and December. The secondary sanctions, walk me through what's happening right now, because you've got another concern about this. I actually happen to think this might help us. But walk through the snapback, the triggers, what's going on technically around this very topic.
Thanks for having me on again, Steve. So the Europeans began the process of reimposing snapback sanctions at the UN. This is a mechanism that was included in the Iran nuclear deal, which meant that any member of the JCPOA could make a move to bring back all of the previous UN sanctions on Iran, and the Russians and the Chinese could not veto it. It takes 30 days. The Europeans have chosen to do it now because in October, it actually expires. Had they not done it now, they would not have the possibility to do it, although there wasn't a possibility for an extension of this. The reason why I'm concerned about this is even if the Europeans are saying, look, we're doing this because we want to push for new negotiations, I personally don't think that that is actually their intent. But let's for a second assume that it is their intent. Part of the reason why I think this is going to be really challenging is because I'm not seeing any readiness yet on the US side or on the Iranian side to actually have successful negotiations. They're too far away from each other on the core issue of enrichment. If they start talks now with a 30-day deadline, it is more likely to fail. And as a result, the pressure on Trump from the Israelis and others will then amass significantly that because talks failed
but President
and the deadline
Trump,
is out, you have to go back to talks.
Hang on. I actually think the snapback in that, because I think that's economic warfare. And I think if you applied it, you could have your regime changed by the Iranian people as the economy got out of control. But correct me if I'm wrong here, and you're the expert. President Trump's, he's taken a firm stand. They had an enrichment program. He actually believes in the sense of urgency. We don't, but that's fine. He did a expeditionary force strike of Tomahawk missiles and, of course, our amazing bombers out of Omaha. He believes, and he says it over and over again, total obliteration of their enrichment system, full stop. And he's not going to back off that. So how can they use that to try to edge us into some sort of conflict?
Because you will see new accusations claiming that the Iranians are doing X, Y, and Z, or that some part of the program is still there, or the mere fact that the Iranians are not agreeing that the whole program has been obliterated and that they're claiming that they're going to restart it at some point and go back to enrichment because they consider that to be their national right. So I'm personally not of the view that there is a lack of pretexts and excuses. I think we have seen so much happening in international relations based on false excuses. The question is, will he stand firm enough and say, look, I already resolved this issue, so I'm not going to touch it again? If he manages to do that, then perhaps this will not bring about that type of confrontation. But keep one thing in mind. One of the demands of the Europeans for the Iranians, to the Iranians, in order for the snapback not to be completely fulfilled again, there's a 30-day window here, is that they restart negotiations with the Trump administration on the nuclear issue. If Trump's view is that this is already resolved, then why are the Europeans then pushing for the talks to restart, particularly mindful of the fact that our Secretary of State is actually endorsing and pushing the Europeans to do this? So my concern is that this is going to create this type of a need for quick negotiations when neither side is ready. There is no appetite for compromise on either side. It will fail, and then the push will be, because of the talks having failed, you have to go back to take military action.
So what should we look for in the next 30 days?
Yeah, so one thing I want to add about the considerations of the Europeans, because I think we have to be a little bit careful. Yes, 20 years ago when the Europeans stepped into this, they actually did it And I want to give them credit for it because the Bush administration went into Iraq. It was a disastrous war. It was a huge mistake. And the Europeans wanted to prevent the war to extend into Iran and, having a complete regional war. And that's why they created this whole constellation of the E3. Today, however, the geopolitical circumstances have shifted. The European calculations have shifted. On the one hand, they don't need Iran in any way, shape, or form any longer because they're no longer buying Iranian oil. All of these sanctions have led to a situation in which there's no economic interdependence whatsoever between Europe and Iran. So Iran is not that important. Secondly, Iran supported Russia in Ukraine. And that means that for the first time, the Europeans actually view Iran as a direct threat because they view Russia as an existential threat, right or wrong. And there's a desire to punish the Iranians for having supported Russia against Ukraine. Thirdly, they know that the transatlantic relationship is extremely strained. They know that, from the US side, we're tired of paying for their security, tired of the Ukraine war, tired of their lack of willingness for some sort of a compromise to end that conflict. So by taking this move, endearing themselves with the elements in the Trump administration that are very hawkish, the neocons that are still in there, I think their calculation is that this will then help them manage the other tensions that exist in the transatlantic relationship because of the deep divisions that exist on Ukraine and Russia. So it has actually less to do whether they actually believe that this is going to bring about some sort of a diplomatic end to the crisis with Iran.
Trita, can you hang on for a second? I want to hold you through the commercial break because I've got a couple other questions to ask you. I want to thank our sponsors at Home Title Lock. Remember, every dream you've had is in that home. Make sure it doesn't turn into a nightmare if, one of these cyber criminals or through AI or a rogue accountant or rogue lawyer, they get access to your title and go to a hard money lender and take out a second mortgage on your home. All of your time, everything will be totally tied up, completely tied up in trying to reverse that. And of course, the anxiety, the angst, the fear of what could happen. It's just not worth it. Go to HometitleLock.com. /Steve. You get an absolute incredible $1 million triple lock protection, 24/7 coverage. You get notified immediately if anybody's messing around with your mortgage or with your title, and a $1 million restoration project with lawyers, all of it, in case something happens. HometitleLock.com, promo code Steve. Go talk to Natalie Dominguez and the team today. Short break.
Hi, it's Christina again. Is your shower trying to tell you something? Is getting in and out of the bathtub becoming a safety concern? Are you worried about the cost of a bathroom remodel that could go on for weeks and weeks? Well, now you can have a gorgeous new bath or shower that's safer at a price you can afford with a one-day jacuzzi bath remodel. And now they're bringing you this special TV offer. We're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for up to 1 year. Jacuzzi bath remodel has a design you'll love at a price you can afford.
Literally, they came in the morning, did the demolition, and installed our bathtub in 1 day. I definitely wish we called jacuzzi a lot sooner.
Okay, so tell me, what are the 2 most common reasons people are calling jacuzzi bath remodel right now?
Well, maybe they're just tired of the old, worn-out eyesore of a bath. Often they have dated colors, tiles that might be cracking and fading, or impossible to clean grout. Christina, did you know that the average shower has up to 300 linear feet of grout?
Honestly, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of scrubbing. So that's definitely one of the reasons people call. And you'll love that the new bath or shower just rinses clean and resists mold and mildew. Now, another big reason people call is they've been feeling uneasy stepping over that tub to take a shower. And we're here to help with a safer, more stylish shower that you'll love and is custom designed for you.
Every time I stepped over my old bathtub, I worried I might fall. I don't have those fears anymore. Jacuzzi Bath Remodel gave me a gorgeous shower that's safe too.
It was done in the same day. We did not have to wait. It is amazing.
Time is running out to take advantage of this special offer. When you call right now, we're waiving all installation costs with our Christina Across America offer and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free, no obligation in-home design consultation. You can create your new bath or shower customized just for you, installed in just 1 day from the most trusted name with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Call now.
It's never been easier. Get your free design consultation, schedule your one-day installation, and start loving your new bath or shower right away.
You can go from this to this, and from this to this, or even from this to all this in just one day.
I did not like my bathroom before and was embarrassed by it.
Yes. This is unbelievable. It is stunning. I can't believe it.
Time is running out to take advantage of this special offer. When you call right now, we're waiving all installation costs with our Christina Across America offer and no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free, no obligation in-home design consultation. You can create your new bath or shower customized just for you, installed in just 1 day from the most trusted name with Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Call now.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, in the live chat, no, it's Persia. It's not Iran. It's Persia. It's definitely not Iran. I'll explain that in more detail next week, how we do that. Trita, in the next 30 days, let's just do this. You'll be back with us next week. What are the signs that we should look at that we're heading towards a problem on a regime change war in Persia, sir?
I would keep a very close eye on this discussion about the snapback. And if we see that leading to further escalation rather to some de-escalation, then I fear that it will be more escalatory. And in that, you will then see the pressure and arguments saying that the Iranian nuclear program is still there, Trump did not finish the job, all those different types of arguments in order to lay the deck for this massive pressure campaign on Trump to go back into war.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. Also, I want to have you back next week. I want to delve down on the issue of, what's in broad daylight. 80% of China's, the CCP's energy needs are from Iranian and, Persian oil, either directly sold to them against these sanctions or on the black market. And there's a whole host of reasons people don't want to address it. But it shows you then, hey, if you think they got a nuclear enrichment program, if you think they're so serious, then this has to be addressed. You can't look the other way. Trita, in the interim, where do people go to Quincy Institute? Your social media is a little bit on fire every now and again. Where do folks go?
If they go to my Twitter, it's Trita Parsi at Twitter on X. Go to the Quincy Institute, which is quincyinst.org. That's the website, and I think it's the same handle on X as well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
The snapbacks, sanctions, economic warfare, all of it. Trevor Comstock, we've been talking about Make America Healthy Again, at least for the last hour. You're actually a practitioner. You're CEO and founder of a great little company that's starting out the last couple of years. You've had one hit product after the next. Talk to us about the company, the product, and where do people go?
Yeah, I appreciate you, Steve. I'm at my parents' hotel, so the background's a little different today. But I just really wanted to come on and say thank you so much for all the support, specifically through the War Room. You guys have been amazing. The grass-fed beef tallow moisturizer keeps selling out after even just a few weeks. And it's been a dream come true, to be honest. And then on top of that, like I had mentioned, we just launched our new creatine, which has also been very hot. So thank you once again. And just for anyone that doesn't know, the beef tallow moisturizer is amazing for skin health. And it's just made with the two ingredients, which is the 100% American grass-fed and finished beef tallow, and then the raw Manuka honey from New Zealand. So ton of positive feedback. You can look through some of the reviews that people have already been posting. And then our new creatine product doesn't have reviews quite yet because we just started selling it. But again, this product's amazing for brain health, memory, as well as muscle growth and recovery. So a ton of information on the website. You can learn more. But yeah, you can always check us out at sacredhumanhealth.com, and then make sure to use code War Room for 10% off. We got you covered there.
Folks, take a hard look at all the new products, including the face, have been amazing. Take a hard look at this new brain product. We have been very interested in how Trevor's done it. He's very methodical by how he does it. This thing's another winner. It's incredible. One more time, where they go to get to the website, to check everything out, and be able to ask you guys questions.
Yeah, you can go to sacredhumanhealth.com and then just hit the contact us button if you have any questions. But yeah, I encourage people to check out the reviews and learn more about the products.
And you have a great weekend with your parents. Not a better way to end the summer than getting the family together. So Trevor.
Yeah, thank you.
Well-deserved time off. You do it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Incredible company, incredible products. Tej Gill, we had Trita on here because we're obviously very focused in making sure that no more young men and women in our country get sucked into ground combat in the Middle East ever again, right? We spent 20 years doing that. You saw the sacrifice. You were there.
That's right.
You went in after 9/11 and volunteered and went all over Hell's Half Acre. And now you have, I think, the finest coffee company in the world, because you've taken the same excellence that you applied in Navy SEAL. And you told me at the beginning when you started, you said, hey, we've got the best guns, the best weapons, the best gear, everything. And we got the shittiest coffee. You got Navy Brew. So I want to get it up to speed the same. So tell me about it. Where do people go this weekend, this holiday weekend? How do they participate and get to know more about Warpath Coffee?
Yeah, the website is warpath.coffee, and use actually this weekend you don't need to use promo code War Room. We're just having a sale of everything marked down up to 25%, but warpath.coffee is a website, and just go on there. We're having a huge sale, Labor Day sale, blowout sale this weekend. We've got everything. We've got the dark roast, the breakfast blend, we've got espresso, we've got K-Cups, we've got decaf, we've got flavor coffees, we've got mugs, we've got tumblers. So check it out. And like Steve said, it is the best coffee out there. We roast it on a perforated drum, and by doing that, we don't burn it at all. So you can drink it straight black and actually enjoy the taste of the coffee. You don't need to hide the taste of your coffee with milk and sugar. It is the best coffee. It's not burnt. We use premium, fresh beans. So warpath.coffee, it's the best coffee. And then check out our Labor Day sale. We're having a big sale this weekend. The next big sale like this will be Black Friday. So get on there and just buy as much as you can this weekend. Warpath.coffee, Labor Day sale. It is the best coffee out there.
The champagne of coffee. Don't take it from Tasia. Don't take it from me. Just go and check. We got almost 13,000 5-star reviews all up there. Just go check it out. This is not Amazon. This is actually where they come to the site, which is extraordinary in and of itself. It tells you how much people love this. One more time, where they go, Tasia, and how they follow you.
Yep. Go to warpath.coffee and then follow me. I'm Tej Frog, TEJFROG. I'm on all the social media, and Warpath Coffee's on all the media also.
That's for being a frog man. That's not a Pepe. He's not a Pepe. He's a frog man. He might be a Pepe.
That's right.
He might be a Pepe. He might be a Pepe too. He might be a Pepe too. Tej Gill, love you, brother. Have a great weekend. Folks, the great Charlie Kirk, 2 hours of populist nationalism. Then Jack Posobiec. You got Gruber. Guy's a hammer. The Michigan Hammer. Eric Bowling, we're back 5 to 7 tonight. Tomorrow, a special all weekend. Labor Day specials. You're going to love tomorrow morning's show, my favorite show of the week. And then on Monday, our Labor Day special. You're going to love that too. Birch Gold. Gold hit an all-time high in the first hour of our show. It ain't the price, it's the process. Birchgold.com. Promo code Bannon, the end of the dollar empire. Get it. It's all free. Get up to speed. Become the smartest person at the barbecue about capital markets, the prime reserve currency, debt, deficit, all of it. See you back here, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, when you will be back in the war room.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Think of all the places that could expose you to identity theft and financial loss. It only takes one mistake at your bank, hospital, or employer for a criminal to gain access to your personal information. And if they do, you and your money are at risk.
$110,000 of my hard-earned money gone.
With LifeLock, if your identity is compromised, we'll step in and fix it so you don't have to. Guaranteed. Our dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialists handle your case from start to finish. They contact institutions on your behalf, dispute fraudulent charges, and more. In fact, we're so confident that restoration is guaranteed. Plus, LifeLock offers the $1 Million Protection Package with coverage up to $3 million.
When I opened my mail and I had a check from LifeLock, they made me whole.
Call now or go online and use promo code 35OFF to save 35% off an annual plan for your first year. Enroll now.
Tired of the hassle and high cost of selling a home? We can help. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
We got the top dollar for our house and the lowest commission that I could have imagined. The house sold in 2 days. It was so exciting for us.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free The Charlie Kirk Show starts now.
Yes, I saw the comments of my predecessor, Ms. Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that in a time of mourning like this, when beautiful young children were killed while praying in a church, it's utterly disrespectful to deride the power of prayer in this country, and it's disrespectful to the millions of Americans of faith. And I would encourage Ms. Psaki to pray for these families themselves who need it right now more than ever.
I have heard about a whole lot of hate that's being directed at our trans community. Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity.
But the one thing is clear, you are dealing with a person who's trans, that was transitioning. Are you going to be examining at all some of the drugs that are used in order to make that transition happening, to see if it plays a role? Because we also know there was a trans shooter in the Tennessee situation.
At NIH, we're launching studies on the potential contribution of some of the SSRI drugs and some of the other psychiatric drugs that might be contributing to violence. You know, many of them on there have black box warnings that warn of suicidal ideation and homicidal ideation. So we can't exclude those as a culprit, and those are the kind of studies that we're doing.
I teach a class on this in Georgetown. This individual appears to be what we call a nihilist. And not to get into too much detail about their ideology, they believe that no lives matter. I believe that calling this or investigating this as an attack against Catholics, I believe, is a little disingenuous, and it plays into the far right's narrative about Christians being under attack in this country. Clearly, since this person went to this school, it appears to be, and we don't know their background. But I think that we're starting to see the creepings of the politicization of this tragedy, and you'll start seeing that more and more. I've already seen that online from some lawmakers.
Is it your intention to run trans people out of the state of Texas? No? Just out of the bathroom?
This is not Germany. That's the SS and the Gestapo. This is the United States of America. Unmask yourself.
The Democrat Party at every level exists to serve the illegal alien, the criminal, the terrorist, the gangbanger, and all of the organizations that shelter and coddle them. They are society destroyers. They are city destroyers. They are family destroyers. President Trump and the Republicans don't care about the feelings of criminals. They want the criminals locked up, and they want our streets safe for Americans. A clearer choice has never been presented, Laura.
Most of the major cities in the United States are run by Democrat governors, and they're also the highest rate crime cities in the country. I'm on limited time, and I want to give you a chance to address something,
I would
though,
absolutely
Governor, because President
welcome
Trump brought
federal
it up.
support.
Apparently, there we go. you would welcome federal support. That's wonderful to hear.
I would absolutely welcome federal support.
Happy to hear that.
All of these elected officials in charge have to do is pick up the phone and ask for the president and the federal government's help. President Trump doesn't care if they are a Republican or a Democrat leader. He wants Americans to be safe and for every law-abiding American citizen across the country to be able to thrive in their city and in their community.
We greatly appreciate the surge of officers that enhance what MPD has been able to do in this city. But for carjackings, the difference between this period, this 20-day period of this federal surge and last year represents a 87% reduction in carjackings in Washington, D.C. When carjackings go down, when the use of gun goes down, when homicide or robbery go down, neighborhoods are safer.
Kirk Show.
Fellow Americans, did you know a war is being waged right now for how you spend your hard-earned dollars? Over 100 countries worldwide are preparing to switch to a digital currency. Now, this means cash will be replaced by money governments can monitor and track. This tracking makes it possible to collect data from every purchase you make and the ability to decide what you can buy and when you can buy it. What's more, your assets can be frozen or even seized. I'm appalled at such an assault on financial privacy. My friends at Swiss America have a report called The Secret War on Cash with an action plan to protect your financial privacy. So please, call or text the number on your screen for a free copy. With the growing reality of a government-backed digital currency, the time to act is now. So call or text the number on your screen for your free Secret War report.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. Your host for the day, executive producer of this fine show, Andrew Colvett. Honored to be with you, as always, when I get the opportunity. Got a few times I'm going to be hosting in the next week and a half or so. So I look forward to being here with you today and also in the coming week and a half. Also, in hour 2, Charlie is on assignment today, but just before he left, he this morning, we actually had a recording with Secretary Noem on some new developments out of DHS. And in hour 1 here, we've also got Ben Bergwam, who's been doing ride-alongs with DHS, with ICE. He's got some incredible exclusive footage that he's going to share with you guys here first. So you're not going to miss that in just a little while. But first up, we've had a crazy week. And there's been so much news breaking, especially in Minneapolis, that some of the larger trends have gotten missed in the day-to-day coverage just because of the wild news cycle. And I want to make sure that we dive into this and really make sense of what you're seeing. There is a new poll that is making the rounds this morning out of Gallup. Gallup poll, I think it came out maybe a day ago, 2 days ago, but now it's just sort of making waves online. And why it's making waves online, if we could put that graphic up, is that for the first time, according to Gallup, 0% of Democrats are satisfied with the direction of the country. 0%. This is the lowest level of satisfaction among Democrats in at least 25 years, according to Gallup's polling. But meanwhile, Polling amongst Republicans is also near record highs. And you can see it right there all the way at the right end of that graph if you're viewing this. So you can see that this graph reveals two things. On the left-hand side of that graph, you see a much narrower divergence in the satisfaction relative to party affiliation. So early on in this century, people were much less likely to be so swayed by who was occupying the White House. And then, as the century continues, you see that partisan divide get larger and larger, especially with President Trump. And then you see everybody was basically unhappy during the Biden years. Part of that was COVID. A lot of that was inflation. But then look at Trump 2.0, that massive spike. And I want to explain why I think this is. The why is very interesting here. Yes, we are a country that is in many ways like two countries in one. If you are progressive, you see the world through one lens. Your value system is completely divergent from that of conservatives. But also, and I think this is really important, Democrats are unhappy with Democrats. You see, I believe that the floor that you saw basically from halfway through maybe the 2010 and onward through 2020, the relative floor that you saw amongst Republicans or Democrats, depending on who was in office, was because that the opposition party was putting up at least a bit of a fight. What you are seeing in this low poll is the fact that Democrats feel like they don't have a shot. They don't feel like their party is representing anything of what they want. Now you've got like Mamdani, you've got AOC, but Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Biden is completely gone, Kamala's completely gone. All you've got is Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, two beta white males from failed states trying to be the chief Trump foil. And meanwhile, we have majorities as Republicans in the House and in the Senate, and you've got the most conservative, robust, energetic executive in modern American history in President Donald J. Trump. So what this really shows is that we have broken the back of the Democrat Party. We have broken their spirit, broken their will. And I actually think this is incredibly important. We have been railing on this show, begging conservatives, begging Republicans for as long as I can remember to use your power. Now, do I still have notes? Absolutely, I still have notes. I still have notes. I still want to go further. We haven't gone nearly far enough. This reminds me of the Oxford speech that Charlie gave a couple of months ago that was just released a couple of weeks ago because we had to harangue and finagle that content out of Oxford. There was a reason they didn't want to show it. The question was, has Trump gone far enough? Well, no, is the very, very clear answer. But it doesn't matter, because if you're a Democrat, you think he's gone far, way too far. You think he's gone over the cliff. You think democracy is gone. You think there is no hope for this country because of President Donald Trump. Their will is broken. Now, there are other explanations for it that I do think are important, such as demographic change, mass immigration, the dissolution of social cohesion. All of these things are playing into it. But what you're really seeing that sets this moment apart is the fact that Republicans are using the power that the Constitution affords them. This is not the end of democracy. This is not, throwing out the constitutional republic that we've had and enjoyed for these 200, almost 50 years. This is simply us using the powers that the founders gave us for the first time to get what we want, to use power effectively, efficiently, and aggressively. So let's just go through why I think this is. 359. This is Harry Enton from CNN telling the Democrats their brand is broken. 359.
Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005. But at this point, as I said at the beginning, the Democratic brand is in about as good a position as the Cracker Barrel rebrand. It is bad, bad, bad for the Democrats.
Well, guess what? Cracker Barrel reversed course, and now guess what? Their stock price is back up. So, and they got rid of the LGBT. I was a little, let's be honest, I thought it was window dressing, go back to the original logo, yada, yada. No. They got rid of their LGBTQ page. We're gonna keep a look on that. Robbie Starbuck joined the show this week. He's on it like white on rice. But it's more than that. Democrats are beaten, broken, and in dismay. They're depressed. Let's go ahead and play 371.
The problem that he is facing is that the depression among Democrats is really there. And he has a lot of both mental and literal debts that he has to be paying at the DNC. There's been a lot of problem with fundraising, a lot of Democrats who are not willing to put the money there, and also millions of debt from Kamala Harris's campaign that I get into in the story up on our site that has never really been reported before exactly what happened, and even hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt or payments that are going to Joe Biden's legal bills for the oversight hearings that are on Capitol Hill. It's a lot of things that are coming together and making it even more difficult for Democrats as they are trying to figure out the way forward into the midterms next year and beyond.
So they're depressed, they have debt, they're broke, they can't raise money, and yet they still have a fighting chance. And that's why we need to put the boot to the neck. And then we'll describe that in the next segment. Don't go anywhere.
Guys, if you plan to retire in the next 20 years, or if you've already retired, I have a message for you that you need to hear. Central banks, BRIC nations, and our allies are pumping trillions of dollars back into America, but every dollar they send could make your savings worth less. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and I just want you to be prepared for the future. So protect your hard-earned savings with gold. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group offers you the safety net of gold with the tax advantage status of a retirement account. To see how it's done, click the link below to get a free info kit on gold IRAs. This kit reveals why gold IRAs are exploding in popularity, so do it now. What do you have to lose? It's free and there's no obligation. Click the link below to get your free info kit from the Birch Gold Group.
Yep, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried if it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bills. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protected with a plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice and done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing, covered when you got a plan through CarShield. Next, you probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2. Plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Then comes the best part. 3, when you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your covered repairs paid directly to the shop, so you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle before it's too late. When you call CarShield, whether you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s, or a big problem, like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down no matter how many claims you have. Look, it's inevitable. As your car or truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield now.
Waiting until your car breaks down is too late. Call CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-653-8201. 800-653-8201.
From the campus to the car, the bullhorn to the microphone, it's the Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, welcome back to our Real America's Voice audience. Andrew Colvett, executive producer of this show. Honored to be with you as always. Let me tell you quickly about one of our partners, and that would be YRefi. The great folks at YRefi. We love these people. They're amazing. They're so supportive. And by the way, they're making waves all over culture and beyond. It's not just what they do with Turning Point USA or the show. They're going into so many different arenas. We're so proud of them. And by the way, that is partly because of the support that you, this audience, provide to them, the trust that you give them in helping solve private student loan debt in the United States, which still totals about $300 billion. I wonder if we've made a dent in that just with this audience. I actually really wonder if we've got to update this $300 billion fact. But $45 billion is distressed, right? So YRefi refinances distressed or defaulted private student loans that others won't touch. They provide you with a custom loan payment, so you can it will fit into your budget, folks. So if this is you, just know that they will work with you. They'll fit it into your budget based on your ability to pay. It's not a debt resettlement company, and they work with each borrower individually, tailoring each loan to each borrower's specific situation. You will not be calling a faceless call center. YRefi does not care what your credit score is. They even allow you to skip a payment now and again. So go check out YRefi.com or call 888-YRefi-34, YRefi.com. Tell them that the Charlie Kirk Show sent you. They're amazing people, and we are so honored to be partnering with them. Just saw them a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact, and it was just an amazing time. Always good to catch up with those guys. YRefi.com. We are going to dive into why the Democrats still have a fighting chance and how we can fix that. So don't go anywhere. Charlie Kirk on assignment. He'll be back in hour 2 with Kristi Noem and Tyler Boyer. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The Charlie Kirk Show. Andrew Colvett in for the one and only Charlie Kirk. He'll be back in hour 2 with Secretary Noem. I'm very excited about that. But here's the deal. You never see 0%. I want you to put that graphic back up. You never see 0% of anything. There's always like somebody that's like, everything's fine. 0%. If the poll is to be believed, this is absolutely unbelievable. And here's the truth. We want some Democrats to be happy with the direction of the country. We want a country that feels together and unified. We want the post-World War II unification of America. But here's the problem. In the same sense that we had to go through a wartime situation to get on the other side of that victorious, I believe that that's what we are looking at now. Sometimes in life, sadly, you have to go through baptism by fire. And we are a nation that was under siege from within. Democrats had completely lost their marbles. They still have. It's worse than ever. They're doubling down on every 80-20, 90-10, even a 99-1 issue. If you saw that poll, 99% of Americans are either believe that urban crime is either a massive problem or a problem at least. Only 1% didn't believe that it's a problem. So Democrats are doubling down on stupid. I could use more flowery language, but I will not for the censors. But listen, we want a country that agrees on basic things, okay? And we want some Democrats to be happy. But the bottom line is that there is an ideological rot that has infested the progressive mind in this country, and they simply cannot see their way out of it. They can't. And so the only option left before us as conservatives is that we win and they lose. And I hate to be so stark and put the dichotomy out there like that, but that's as simple as I can make it. We must win, they must lose. And we've talked about this before. We have a fork in the road coming. Two roads diverged in the wood. And the question is America going to take the one less traveled? The one less traveled is that we have national renewal, that we pull out of the spiral that this country has been in since 9/11, really. But really since 1990, if you want to go back. We could go back to the 1960s. We could go back to, many different points. You could even make an argument you could go back to World War I. But whenever this national state of decline began, most countries fall off a cliff. Now, Reagan gave us a little breath of air in the 1980s, a sense of resurgence, renewal, but the seeds were sown for some really bad things, and we are paying that debt now, whether that be immigration, amnesty, bloated defense budgets, debts, abortion, a drop-off of fertility, a drop-off of home ownership, a drop-off in traditional values and Christian values and church. A lot of things started in the 80s and 90s that we didn't have eyes to see because it took decades for the fruit to become fully ripe. And so we have a struggle to reverse the fertility trend, to reverse the migration trend, meaning we got to get foreigners that are here illegally out of the country. And frankly, we need an immigration moratorium. One of the things that you're seeing in that graph is that we have totally destroyed our demographics. And now I'm not saying I don't like brown people or black people. That's hardly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's something called cultural cohesion. We had a nation that made things, that created and innovative, and we still do. And we just said, well, let's just change the best country in the planet for no apparent reason. Let's just bring in people that don't speak our language, that don't share our values, who don't know who Thomas Jefferson is, that don't know who George Washington is, that don't know our founding story, that don't know the Magna Carta or the Constitution, for that matter, that don't understand common law. And I don't know why our leaders were hell-bent on importing the third world to this country, but they did, and now we need an immigration moratorium to set things right. Charlie agrees with this. I agree with this. Blake agrees with this. There is no need to be bringing in 1.2 million green cards every year of people that we don't know, that don't share our values, and that could become a leech on the system. We have had we have had a huge meal. It's not just one Thanksgiving. It's like 40 years of Thanksgiving and the largest movement of humanity in the history of the earth. And now we need time to digest it. If any country is capable of doing it, it is America. But goodness, we have not given ourselves the right situation to deal from. Did you know between 1925 and 1965, we had almost no immigration? Funny. Turns out to be a pretty happy country that we produced in those years. Ben Bergwam joins us next.
Thinking about travel? Think AMAC. AMAC members have access to special money-saving discounts on hotels, car rentals, cruises, and more, so you can save money on every adventure. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to saving money on travel and so much more, think AMAC.
Hey there. Hey. Hey there, how are you? I'm with Disabled American Veterans. I was wondering if you had a quick minute to thank America's veterans for their service and sacrifices.
Of course, why not?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Sure.
All right, hey, well, come on in here. I'm just gonna hit record on this.
I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't even think of the words to say of how grateful I am.
I just want to tell you guys how much you appreciate it.
But most importantly, I want to thank you for your courage and bravery.
Wow. Just thank you.
Someone here who'd like to say something to you.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome.
Someone has something they want to say to you.
Goodness. How's it going? Oh. So I just want to let you know how much you're appreciated. How much you're appreciated.
I just feel honored for everything you've done.
Thank you for myself. Thank you for everybody.
I get to live every day, in peace because of you.
A lot of people thank us, but we want to take the time to thank you, honestly, for giving back. And when you give to DAV, you are supporting veterans like Dave, myself. So thank you so much for your.
Thank you. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can say thank you to our nation's heroes by calling the number on your screen right now and giving your monthly support of only $19.
Say thank you by going to helpdav.org right now and give just $19 a month. When you do, we'll send you this DAV blanket as a thank you and a reminder that you support those who served.
Please call or go online to helpdav.org right now. Your support says thank you to our nation's disabled American veterans.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrance Bates. We are continuing to learn more about what may have motivated this week's shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church there in Minneapolis. We're also hearing from the father of 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel. Fletcher is one of the 2 kids who were killed in that heinous attack.
Please remember Fletcher for the person he was and not the act that ended his life. Give your kids an extra hug and kiss today. We love you, Fletcher. You will always be with us.
As for the continuing investigation into the attack, Minneapolis police and federal officials say the 23-year-old killer was familiar with the church and the school attached to it.
The shooter expressed hate towards almost every group imaginable. There appears to be only one group that the shooter didn't hate, one group of people who the shooter admired. The shooter idolized some of the most notorious school shooters and mass murderers in our country's history.
J.D. Vance is traveling the country touting President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. He spent part of the day Thursday with Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum in Wisconsin. The two visited a steel-making facility in La Crosse, Wisconsin, to highlight the bill's tax cuts and for middle-class workers and its potential benefits for the U.S. steel industry. However, the vice president also found himself talking about crime in this country and the attack in Minneapolis.
This happens too much in our country. And if you look, we really do have, I think, a mental health crisis in the United States of America. We take way more psychiatric medication than any other nation on earth. And I think it's time for us to start asking some very hard questions about the root causes of this violence. And I'm going to be part of that, and the First Lady and the President are going to be part of that. But that's going to be an American conversation that we're going to have together.
The vice president also used the stage to offer up a public prayer for the victims and for their families. Again, mental health is said to be potentially behind this particular attack, as the alleged shooter was a transgender person. Well, that's going to do it for your headlines. I'm Terrance Bates. Now, let's get you back to the Charlie Kirk Show.
Stops here. The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Andrew Colvett in for Charlie Kirk, who'll be back in hour 2 with Secretary Noem, and Tyler Boyer, who runs our C4 Turning Point Action. But before I bring in Ben Bergwam, my good friend, who I love seeing Ben and all the stuff that he's doing all over the country, I'm going to tell you about Hillsdale College. History, economics, the great works of literature. Did you study these things in school? Probably not. But even if you did, it's probably time for a refresher. Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses, including their newest course on totalitarian novels. In this free 8-lecture course, you'll learn from Hillsdale College president Larry Arnn as he goes in-depth on 4 novels: 1984, Brave New World, Darkness at Noon, and That Hideous Strength. Even though these novels were written in the 1930s and 40s, they are extraordinarily relevant today. More importantly, they can show us that faith, family, and friends are worth fighting for. This country is worth fighting for. Maybe you read these books a long time ago. Maybe you've heard others talk about them and they seem a little intimidating. They don't have to be, because Hillsdale walks you through them. You're going to sound like an expert on the other side of this. Plus, you got to take their Constitution 101 course. They got a C.S. Lewis course. There's so much good stuff there. Go right now to charlieforhillsdale.com to enroll. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. That's charlieforhillsdale.com to register. CHARLIE for Hillsdale.com. Go there right now. Now joining the show is the great, the one, the intrepid Ben Bergwam. Ben, how are you, my friend? Where on earth are you? What have you been up to? You were texting me, telling me all your travels and adventures, and it's tremendously important what you're doing. I hope you're having a good time and staying very safe. Ben, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew. Great to be with you, brother. So we started this week actually in San Diego. We're doing a follow-up border tour from what we, basically comparing the last administration to the current administration. Started with the Border Patrol tunnel team out of San Diego, met with the director down there, the chief of the San Diego sector, and then we've been hopscotching our way over here, went through El Paso, also Nogales. What's crazy in Nogales, it's everywhere along the way. The moral of the story, the overarching theme is the border is more secure today than it's ever been. But one of the things I saw in Nogales, there is a cartel lookout, a scout location where a year ago I went out there and they had a whole bunker set up and it was basically all controlled by the cartels. When President Trump came in, he had the Mexican military go in there and clean that out. Well, since that time, there's a new cartel scout on that very same mountain. And it goes back to why it's so important that President Trump's talking about using our military to go in after the cartels. This is the war that we need to be focused on. Not the war in Ukraine, not the wars overseas, but the war at our doorstep on our southern border. I just got to ride with ICE 2 days ago in their ERO out of San Antonio. We've got some amazing clips from that. We're still editing, and we're finishing up here. I'm in Harlingen, Texas, at the repatriation deportation flights. So we did a deportation flight in Gary, Indiana, and that basically moves the illegals from that location down here. Now we're at the final location before the illegals are moved out of our country. And we were here for one of those this morning. We'll be releasing that video later today. But it is the moral of the story, Andrew, is it's the most secure border we've ever had. It's also partly in part the amount of deportations, the scale of what we're talking about could only be done with the joint operations that we see between all the agencies, the sister agencies. You've got ICE, you got ERO, HSI, but today we had U.S. Marshals. A lot of the places you'll have FBI, DOD, DEA, all of these different agencies working together on this one mission. And the bottom line is it's the difference between Joe Biden, America last, and President Trump, America first.
Yeah, I mean, that's well said, Ben. I mean, we're showing all this footage. I'm not sure if you can see it of all of this footage you've been gathering the last couple of days. These raids, these arrests, the deportation flights. Just get us into the mindset, the morale of our men and women that are working on these deportations. Especially since the One Big Beautiful Bill passed, they've been injected with resources. I mean, I personally talked with Tom Homan a couple of times, a bunch of times actually, and he was like, "We need more money. We need more money. We need more money for flights, for beds." And also explain the process of these deportation flights. You said you started in Indiana and then you went to San Diego. So 2 questions. The floor is yours, Ben.
Yeah, so morale has never been higher, and I would say morale had never been lower. You know, I talked to Border Patrol and ICE agents during Joe Biden's administration. They couldn't go on camera. There was a media blackout, but off the camera, they told us morale had never been lower. Now it's never been higher. These guys are able to do their jobs again. Many of them were former service members in the military. They've sworn that oath a couple times, and they just want to be able to do their jobs. And so from that standpoint, they're able to do that now, and they're pumped up about it. What you're seeing, some of this, you're seeing some of the repatriation flights, but some of the footage you guys were showing was from our operation in San Antonio just 2 mornings ago. And that was from one house, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So ICE has, let's say, a fugitive. In this case, we were going after, it was a criminal warrant going after this fugitive that was living in this house. They had the SRT team, the special response team going out there. Basically, it looks like SWAT. We went in with the Bearcat, but it's the ICE's version of that. They go in. We had some flashbangs deployed. We ended up capturing that one fugitive, but within that same house, there were 5 total illegals, 2 of whom also had felony warrants. This is one house in one community. There are thousands, tens of thousands of houses like this across America. So when Tom Homan talks about needing more funding, it's a hell of a lot cheaper to let these people flow in. So for the last 4 years, we had NGOs, the United Nations, all these groups working to invite people in. You had the previous administration taking them from the border and shipping them basically wherever they wanted to go in the country. Now you've got Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, Rodney Scott, all working together to stop the bleeding at the border, but then go and capture these individuals. And that's really, each one of these is a targeted apprehension. So what will happen, and just to kind of answer some of the questions, it's not when they're going out there, typically they're not random. They're going after a specific target. But like in the case that we saw in San Antonio, they go into a house after a target. They find 5 other individuals. They check their legal status. And if those individuals happen to be here illegally, they're getting picked up too. And so they're prioritizing the worst first. So they're going after the worst, picking those guys up, and then they're allowing them to adjudicate their process. Now, in this case, this guy had been deported multiple times, their primary target. He had also fled from law enforcement. That's why this case was raised to a criminal warrant. He's going to be deported quickly. Some of the other people are in that due process where the left says, oh, nobody gets due process. They're deporting citizens. It's an absolute lie. Every single person that's getting deported, all the people that we saw this morning get flown out of this country have had their day in court. They've been able to see an immigration judge. It's been determined that they don't have authorization to be here, and it's time for them to leave. Sometimes that process starts, say, in Gary, Indiana, or in Chicago. Gary, Indiana is kind of the hub for outside of Chicago, so the flights will typically go out of Gary. But those flights will then move further south usually. The primary hubs for final deportations are Mesa, Arizona. You've got it here in Harlingen, Texas, and then Alexandria, Louisiana. So they'll eventually be moved down to one of these locations. Once their case has been adjudicated, then and it's determined that they're going to be deported, then they'll be basically the international flight process of ICE Air will be taken out of one of these 3 main locations.
ICE Air. Oh, I love that. ICE Air.
It's nice.
I'll buy
it's
stock
got a nice
in that,
ring
baby.
to it.
Hey, so Ben, and I'm going to give the audience a little preview. Charlie's going to be speaking with Secretary Noem in the next hour, so I don't want to ruin all the excitement, but basically we have about 350,000 illegals have now been deported, and that's on top of 1.6 million self-deportations. And this is the little nugget I'm gonna give. And Secretary Noem, I don't want to steal her thunder, but the number one video, or the number one, I guess, motivation for self-deportations, Ben, are the videos out of CCOT, out of El Salvador. So when illegals know that if they get arrested, they might go to CCOT or they might go to El Salvador, and Bukele is going to get a hold of them, that's what's motivating a lot of them to get out on their own, which is by far the best option, because we don't put ICE agents in harm's way. We don't have them doing a dangerous raid where they might get shot or stabbed or something terrible. They're doing it on their own, and they're taking off. Ben, are you seeing with these arrests and these videos, DHS seems to be very aware that these videos are powerful because they're a motivating factor for illegals all over the country to get out on their own accord. Are they sort of, have they embraced this? Have they isolated this? And that's why we're seeing you get embedded with these groups all over the country?
Yeah, so that's part of it. Part of it is telling, well, I'd say it's twofold. Part of it's telling the truth, unlike the fake news media who are pushing propaganda and lies. They want the truth to be told. So, media that will actually come out here and tell the truth, will show what's actually happening, give you the full picture. That's part of it. But you're absolutely right. They want you to show, and I'll just give you a perfect example. Same thing. I'm gonna break a little news. We haven't released the interview yet, but I met with the field office director out of San Antonio, and he said it very simply. You can self-deport and leave on your own terms, or you can wait for us to find you and you leave on our terms. And that's having a major impact on the illegals that are already here. At first when Kristi Noem came out with, we had the CBP-1 under Joe Biden, which invited the invasion. Now you have the CBP Home app, which allows you to go in and say, okay, I'm here illegally. I want to go home. I want to do it on my own terms. I don't want to be deported and never have an opportunity to come back in again. So I'm going to do this. And when they first came out with that, I thought, I wonder how many people are going to actually use it. Apparently, a large number. Some of those people we're finding out they're not actually even using the app. They're just going back. So we'll get exit interviews as they're going through the Mexican border, as they're crossing back through. They're saying, I was here. I didn't have authorization. I'm going back. We're just letting those people go. If you want to go home, we're letting you go. Assuming that you don't have some criminal warrant in the United States, doing some background checks on them as well. But this CBP Home app is having a bigger impact than I thought. I thought originally it was just a publicity stunt, but it actually is, and it goes back to exactly what you're saying. What ICE is releasing, why they're having us come out here, showing this, and it really is sad. You got some of the people that you got the children that are getting sent back with their adult parents who came here illegally. You kind of feel bad for the kids. I've got young kids, but it was those parents who made that choice. Now, if you're a parent in America illegally, you also have the choice to go home on your own accord and take your kids and not put them through this. It's not ICE that's doing this to you. It's you that's doing this to you.
1,000%. Parents need to take responsibility. And what I love about all this is that we're not falling for the sob stories anymore, right? There's been no citizens that have been deported, okay, unless they're taking the parents taking the child home. More with Ben Bergwam when we get right back.
Hey, just want to say thank you for your service.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure you've heard that before, but we want you to know that we understand the freedoms and liberties in this country are because of people like you who served and gave everything for the cause of freedom. We don't take that lightly. So thank you for everything you've done and sacrificed for us.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
We're ready for our ticket.
It's been paid.
People thank me for my service all the time. But I want to thank you for being someone
worth fighting for. You make it all worth it. If you really want to thank me and other veterans like me, go to helpdav.org and support disabled American veterans. That is the best way to say thank you and keep our promise to our nation's heroes.
You can say thank you to our nation's heroes by going to helpdav.org right now, or call the number on your screen and give your monthly support of only $19. Your support lets our disabled veterans know you appreciate them and everything they have sacrificed for us. When you do, we'll send you this DAV blanket as a thank you and a reminder that you support those who served.
When you support DAV, you're showing veterans like me that you were worth fighting for.
Please call or go online to helpdav.org right now. Your support in this moment honors our veteran service.
Democracy lives in light. The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. We have Ben Bergwam on. I want to play the promo for AmFest. So, guys, do you have that clip? And if you do, just go ahead and play it. Do we not have that clip? Well, while they find it, I just want to say that we had the largest student action summit in the history of Turning Point USA, and it's going to be hard to beat last year AmFest. That was 21,000 people with President Trump. But let's go ahead and roll 54, a promo for this year's AmFest in December, Phoenix, Arizona. You're going to want to be there. 54.
America Fest is the starting point for us to take America to greater heights in 2025. We have a team that is ready to change the world and bring America back to greatness.
Experience the greatest celebration of America. 4 days, thousands of patriots, the loudest voices, the strongest leaders, featuring Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Grant Cardone, Rob Schneider, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Glenn Beck, Riley Gaines, Todd Chrisley, Savannah Chrisley, and more. December 18th to 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. The movement meets here. You won't want to miss this. Register now at amfest.com.
That's amfest.com. Get your tickets today. We already have record. I will say this. Last year ended up being our record year, 21,000. I mean, it was huge. And it's so exciting. It's such a good time. And by the way, students, tons of students all over, and we take really good care of them too. So if you're a parent with students and you want to go there, it is safe. We have chaperones, and trust me, we take really, really good care of the students. That's what we're really good at. But it's for all ages. Anybody can have a good time there. We want the Real America's Voice community there, the War Room Posse, Charlie Kirk Show audience. Everybody needs to be there in December. More when we get right back. All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. Andrew Colvett. I'm your host for Hour 1. Charlie's going to be speaking with Secretary Noem in Hour 2, and Tyler Boyer from the C4, Turning Point Action. Give you an update on where we stand for the midterms and beyond, and what we're going to be doing about that at Turning Point Action. I am joined by Ben Bergwam, the great Ben Bergwam, who is doing phenomenal work telling the story of our brave men and women that are repelling the invasion, that are undoing the wrongs. Really, it just feels like, there's this kind of meme on the internet, Ben, where we talk about nature is healing, country is healing. You can just feel it. Yeah. You can just feel it, that we are getting a lot of bad dudes out of this country that have been running drugs, running guns. They've been trafficking people, hurting our kids, fentanyl. But we are at I want people to appreciate how miraculous it is that we find ourselves at this point where we are finally reversing something this disastrous and negative. We're going to have a net flow out of our country of foreigners for the first time in my lifetime. Ben Bergwam, tell us more.
Yeah, great point. By the way, before I mention that, Law and Border, the impetus of our show Law and Border 4 years ago actually came from AmFest, Turning Point AmFest out of Phoenix, Arizona. So if you want to have some inspiration, some epiphanies for your life and the direction you want to go, I can't recommend AmFest more highly. That was actually the term I was thinking, what am I going to call my show? Border Law. And it was like Law and Border. There it is, AmFest. That's where it originated. We've launched since then.
But it's
but you're right. Yeah, I don't know if I ever told you that, Andrew. I was actually at our RAV booth, and we were talking to the law enforcement down there. I was actually there with Sheriff Lamb, and it all came together. Anyways, but 4 years. So I saw it. I saw the invasion, the 4 years of Joe Biden. I actually saw the first 4 years of President Trump. We've been doing this around 10 years. So President Trump securing the border after the disastrous Barack Obama. Then you had Joe Biden open the floodgates. And we were there for that entire thing every single day from the U.S. border. We were down in Mexico, Guatemala, down in Panama, did the Darien Gap 4 times, showing that just how disastrous it was. And it wasn't accidental. This is the most important thing. This was not accidental. There was a global travel agency that started with the United Nations and worked through all of these NGOs, Catholic Charities, Lutheran Social Services, Jewish Family Services, 9 primary NGOs in the United States, hundreds of other subsidiaries down below them that were all feeding at the invasion trough. They were there encouraging and coaching illegals on how to come, and then profiting once they got here, moving them into our country. Now we're going the opposite direction, and we're sending them out. But the biggest threat still, Andrew, are those NGOs and the traitors within our own government that allowed this to happen. Not only allowed it, but facilitated it, invited it.
Well, that's my question.
That's the biggest threat, and this is where, yeah.
My question is, we all know it was on purpose. I mean, you can't, you have to try to do what they did. The question is, right. and just in a minute here, Ben, I don't want to make you be a philosopher here or something, but why?
Yeah. Because a couple things. Some, I think, are naive. I think there are people that work under, volunteer for Catholic Charities that don't know what a demonic organization that's become. But I think really it's evil. I think you've got a contingent. I wouldn't even say I think. I know it's evil. It's good versus evil. This battle we're in is good versus evil. And there are people masquerading as good who are from the pits of hell. And there's a part of it, there is a contingent of the population in America who hate this country. There are communists, leftists, now jihadists that are all working together to undermine this country from within. They believe it's a terrible country, and they want to remake it in their either Sharia or communist vision for our nation. They don't want to fix the problems. They don't want to fix this country. They want to remake it. They want to destroy it. And the only way you do that is by destroying it first. And so there is a portion of our population. There are people in office today. You just go down the list. Veronica Escobar out of El Paso, Texas. You look at Adam Schiff. You look at what they did to President Trump, Russia collusion. It's all the same people. The people that want to undermine this nation, want to destroy it. And it's funny because they talk about democracy when it's really, they're the ones that want to get a dictator. They talk about no more kings when it's really, they're the ones that are pushing for communism, socialism, and the destruction of actual choice in America. That's ultimately it. But it's one of those two things. It's either naive or evil.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right, Ben. And it's really, it's incredible to me to watch just how wrong the other side could be about mental illness, trans issue, immigration, crime,
absolutely,
the economy. You have to try and be this dumb. And I do think that's why we're seeing a resurgence in voter registration for conservatives over Democrats, and a bunch of other things. I mean, they're just abysmal. The great Ben Bergwam, law and border on Real America's Voice, and national correspondent for them. Thank you, Ben. We appreciate it. We got Charlie Kirk coming up next hour with Secretary Kristi Noem. Don't miss it.
Selling your home shouldn't be expensive or stressful. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
Ideal Agent connected me with the best realtor in my market, and I saved $12,500 as a result of it, and I got more than my asking price.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be using this. Particle 6-in-1 Face Cream for Men. The first of its kind anti-aging cream designed specifically for men. Fights eye bags, dark spots, and wrinkles. Visit ParticleMen.com and use the promo code on your screen to receive 25% off your entire order. Plus, we've got free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee. www.ParticleMen.com. Because seeing is believing.
There's nothing worse than losing your dog before their time.
That's why I created Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, designed to help dogs with everything from digestive issues to itching, even moving better.
Nature's Blend works because it's freeze-dried. So instead of destroying the nutrients with high heat, they all get right into your dog's body.
Take it from a veterinarian with over 50 years of experience saving dogs' lives. I have never seen a food make this much impact on a dog's health.
For a limited time, get up to 54% off Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, plus a free gift with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
If they come for me, they can come for you.
I think it's a shame. I think it's a disgrace.
When former White House advisor Peter Navarro stood on principle, he never imagined it would land him behind bars.
They demanded that I break the law.
But he refused to betray Donald Trump or the Constitution and paid the price as a political prisoner. Locked inside a Miami federal prison, Peter found two lifelines, postcards of hope to his fiancée Bonnie Pixie Brenner, and a hidden multi-million-dollar prison scandal he's now exposing. Went to prison so you won't have to. Peter and Pixie share a riveting prison diary, a heartfelt love story, and a shocking look at injustice in America's prison system. Stand with Peter. Scan the QR code now or go to Amazon.com to order your copy.
I went to prison so you won't have to.
Continuing to learn more about what may have motivated this week's shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis. Hi, everyone. I'm Terrance Bates. We appreciate you being here with us. We are also hearing now from the father of 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel. This is Fletcher here. Fletcher, by the way, is one of the 2 kids who were killed in the attack.
Please remember Fletcher for the person he was and not the act that ended his life. Give your kids an extra hug and kiss today. We love you, Fletcher. You'll always be with us.
As for the continuing investigation into the attack, Minneapolis police and federal officials say the 23-year-old killer was familiar with the church and the school that's attached to it.
The shooter expressed hate towards almost every group imaginable. There appears to be only one group that the shooter didn't hate. One group of people who the shooter admired. The shooter idolized some of the most notorious school shooters and mass murderers in our country's history.
Vice President J.D. Vance, in the meantime, is traveling the country touting President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. He spent part of the day on Thursday with Secretary of the Interior Doug Bergwam in Wisconsin. The two visited a steel-making facility in La Crosse, Wisconsin, in order to highlight the bill's tax cuts to the middle class and its potential benefits for the U.S. steel industry. However, the vice president also found himself talking about crime in this country and the attack in Minneapolis.
This happens too much in our country. And if you look, we really do have, I think, a mental health crisis in the United States of America. We take way more psychiatric medication than any other nation on earth. And I think it's time for us to start asking some very hard questions about the root causes of this violence. And I'm going to be part of that, and the First Lady and the President are going to be part of that. But that's going to be an American conversation that we're going to have together.
The vice president also used the stage to offer up a public prayer for the victims and their families. Former Vice President and Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris is on her own after President Trump canceled her Secret Service detail. Former vice presidents typically get 6 months of Secret Service protection after leaving office, while President Biden extended her protection beyond that 6 months until January of next year. President Trump rescinded the extended safety net. The move comes as the former vice president is set to embark on a 15-city book tour for her memoir about her unsuccessful presidential run. The tour is scheduled for September, with Harris's protective detail being pulled on September 1st. Harris is the latest high-profile person to have her Secret Service detail pulled. President Trump has also discontinued Secret Service protection for former National Security Advisor John Bolton, along with the Biden children, Hunter and Ashley. Today marks the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. The storm remains one of the most devastating in U.S. history. On this day in 2005, Katrina blew ashore as a powerful Category 3 storm. Katrina devastated much of the Gulf Coast from Louisiana over to the Florida Panhandle. It also killed more than 1,830 people, along with causing $115 billion in damage. However, it's the pictures and video of entire communities being flooded, people trying to escape the floodwaters on their roofs, and displaced New Orleans residents housed in the Superdome that remain the enduring images of that tragedy. Well, the Labor Day travel push is underway, and tens of thousands of Americans are hitting the highways and byways over the next few days. AAA says Labor Day weekend is typically one of the busiest travel periods of the year. Domestic travel numbers this weekend are expected to be up by about 9% compared to the year before. Gas prices are lower than last year as well, which may be a contributing factor to the increased travel. AAA suggests planning your return trip home now. You may want to consider traveling before 10 a.m. on Monday, as the busiest travel times will likely be between 11 in the morning and 8 at night. And the Labor Day travel rush, as I said, is underway. So what is going to be on your Labor Day plate after today? Well, from coast to coast, the classics include a lot of very good stuff. We're talking burgers, hot dogs, barbecue ribs, grilled chicken, and sausage. Pulled pork and steak are also a big staple. That's a quick check of your headlines.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can hack your information without you even knowing. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash protected. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from stealing your info. It's ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. With the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to fit your additional cards and cash. Call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. Don't wait, order now.
Call 1-800-608-4172. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-608-4172 now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Okay, everybody, radio stations across the country, honored to be with you as always in the Bitcoin.com studio. We have a very special guest here. She is doing a phenomenal job. It is the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and a great friend of mine. Ms. Secretary, great to have you on the program. There's so much to go over, but first, I want to give you an opportunity to address all of the lies, all of the propaganda that has been targeted at FEMA. You're doing such a great job running DHS. What is the truth here? The media is doing everything they can to undermine your important work and the president's agenda. Please, Ms. Secretary.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you, Charlie. It's always fun to be with you, and thanks for giving me a chance to
to chat with you today. I would just say that the FEMA employees and media, the employees aren't used to working and doing their jobs. The media is political, so they're taking advantage of that. I'm so proud of what President Trump has done with this agency that was broken and bloated and politicized. They used to, under Joe Biden, only respond to people that were impacted by disasters if they felt like it. If they were on the right side of their politics, they would go in there and help them get through the worst day of their lives. But it was shocking to me, Charlie, even when I first came into this job, the amount of female employees who had the option to, if they wanted to respond to a community in a disaster. So they literally, the agency was saying, okay, this community was just hit by a tornado. Decide if you want to go or not. Decide if you want to go help them or not. And they were not doing their jobs, not doing case management. They still hadn't even paid claims from Katrina. And President Trump said, Kristi, go eliminate that agency as it exists today, fix it, put the local people in charge, and we'll help support them financially and supplement their efforts, but they should be in charge because they know best how to take care of their communities. And since we've done that in the last 6-7 months, FEMA has cut its response time to less than half. Within hours, we're deployed on the ground. We have deployed billions of dollars in like state block grants and let states and local communities respond. And it doesn't matter if you go to Texas or New Mexico or Kentucky or North Carolina, the governors, the local emergency management folks are saying, great job. This is such a game changer for us. And it's been incredible what President Trump has done. I know that these agencies hate it when we come in and make them show up to work and do their jobs. But at Homeland Security, it's never been more important that we're on our game and we're actually doing what our mission is, and that's to keep this country safe.
Yeah, and the Fox News piece says Noem hits back at FEMA critics, reveals vision for disaster relief agency. And I mean, you just said it rather perfectly, which is that it was a bureaucratic, slow-moving nightmare. And again, will the media defend how the hurricane response was and the flooding response was? Remember in North Carolina and Georgia, I think that was Hurricane Helene, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's right.
Mm-hmm. It was, absolutely. It was.
To last year. Yeah, and that was a disaster. Is it correct that FEMA was allocating and appropriating aid based on political affiliation, that if people had Trump flags, they were less likely to get help from the federal government? Is that right? And is that also the same practice that the media does not want to see fixed?
Yes, that's exactly how politicized every single agency that I have under my department is that everything was politically targeted to only help those who were liberals, that were woke, that had bought into the Biden agenda of fundamentally undermining America and our freedoms. So FEMA was no different than others. They were skipping houses and people and not processing claims from individuals they knew were conservative or had Trump flags or Trump signs in their yards, and then going forward and still doing due diligence by those that they knew were their political friends. It was shocking to me to see what happened in this agency, and I started canceling contracts and started evaluating where our dollars were going. And as soon as a disaster was happening, then we immediately said to those local emergency management guys, you guys are in charge. The state is going to run this disaster response. We will support. What do you need? We pre-deployed dollars immediately so that they had some resources to go out and get local contractors to help clear debris, rescue people, pre-deployed our expertise and our trained individuals that were necessary. But other than that, we didn't come in and boss people around and try to take over, because that's why Katrina was so broken. That's why Helene's response was so broken, was because people were sitting around waiting for the feds to show up, and the feds never showed up. They decided to stay home or go on vacation.
I want to compliment you here, and I'm reading this story. New York Times, immigrant population in the U.S. drops for the first time in decades. This is breaking news. 350,000 illegals have now been deported since President Trump took office, and that is 1.6 million self-deportations. Does that really mean 2 million people have now left the country that were foreign illegal alien invaders since January? If correct, we are not even in one calendar year. That means that we could potentially be on pace for 10 million deportations, both self and forcible deportations. And that's without the big, beautiful bill being put into place, that's a pace of over 500,000 direct deportations in a year, and we can keep ramping up. Congratulations, Madam Secretary. This is just amazing. Please take a victory lap. I mean, obviously the president is the one that deserves the credit here mostly, but you're the one executing on it. Tell us more.
Oh, yeah, that's the brilliance of President Trump. You know, even when he first nominated me to hold this position, the first conversation we had is he said, Kristi, you know, I'm going to nominate you for this, but what I want you to do is, he said, I know those commercials that you made in South Dakota to promote your state. I want you to make those for the border. I want you to make them for the border and tell not just the country, but we're going to run them in other countries saying our border is closed. We're going to enforce our laws. If you're here illegally and we have to deport you, you're never coming back. And he said, we're going to tell the entire world that America has changed, and you're going to go out there and spread that message. So while we were enforcing our laws and going after illegal criminals and deporting them, we were strong in our messaging and our consequences, but we also played ads in other countries, in Mexico and in Guatemala and in Honduras. And we told folks, listen, if you've got family members in America that are there illegal, you tell them to come home now, because if we have to remove them, they're never going to get the chance to come back to America again. And overwhelmingly, people left. And the president and his ability to be strong, the videos he allowed us to put out, the CCOT video, the intelligence feedback that we've gotten is that was the number one reason that people voluntarily left. They saw that if they broke our laws and if they were criminals, that could be the consequences. And they didn't want that to happen to them, so they went home.
And what is the number one motivator for foreign illegals to leave? What is working, and what can we do more of?
It is the videos and the communications that we are putting out, that there's real consequences for breaking our laws. Don't wait until we find you, because if we find you, you'll never get to come back. And then I've gone to probably 12 or 13 different countries and negotiated security agreements with these countries that shares information on the criminals that are perpetuating violence in our communities. And when we're there, I'm also telling them, set up programs to welcome your people home, help them with housing, help them with, food assistance, get them trained for a job for when they come back home. And these countries have, Honduras, Guatemala, Mexico, all have programs for people that are leaving the United States to come back now, that helps them and their families, get their feet back under them when they return to their home country. So the kind of diplomacy that Marco Rubio is doing, that we're able to work with him on, and that President Trump is doing, it's not just one strategy, it's all of them together, and not standing for the criminal element that's been in our country that's been so powerful. So President Trump didn't say to me, go do one thing, go do it all, and make sure we get these bad guys out of our country, because he doesn't want to listen to another story of of victims that don't have any justice.
Okay, really quickly, I need to tell our audience about Z-Factor. Z-Factor is amazing. It's a better way to be able to get to sleep. Z-Factor goes beyond melatonin and uses a combination of 4 natural ingredients to help relax your mind so you fall asleep quicker. Once you're asleep, it helps you stay asleep, 100% drug-free, and no groggy feeling when you wake up. Z-Factor was developed by Relief Factor, so you can count on the solid science behind it. Right now, pay only $19.95 for a 30-day supply, a 46% savings. Call 1-800-4RELIEF. That is 1-800-4RELIEF, or visit ReliefFactor.com. That is ReliefFactor.com. Better sleep without drugs. See how Z-Factor from Relief Factor get you the Z's that you want.
Hello, my friend. Pat Boone here. You know our country's under financial assault like never before. Our government has put us $34 trillion in debt. The interest alone's more than we spend on military defense. And what's worse, other countries no longer believe the U.S. is a safe place to invest. There's a growing international movement to dump U.S. dollars at a record pace. Some economists say this may signal the end of the dollar. Now, these countries are instead buying gold, and I'm suggesting you do the same. My friends at Swiss America have been helping Americans like you and me for over 40 years to buy physical gold and silver for delivery to our homes or held in our IRAs. I've trusted Swiss America for nearly 25 years now, and you can trust them too. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these troubling times.
Tired of the hassle and high costs of selling a home? We can help. At Ideal Agent, we'll connect you with a top local agent that'll sell your home fast for top dollar, and all this for as low as a 2% commission.
We got the top dollar for our house and the lowest commission that I could have imagined. The house sold in 2 days. It was so exciting for us.
Ideal Agent is available nationwide, there's no obligation, and best of all, our service is completely free. Call today or visit idealagent.com.
Thinking about Medicare? Think AMAC. Medicare can be complicated, but AMAC makes it simple. Our licensed agents provide free, unbiased guidance to help you find the plan that best suits your needs. But that's not all AMAC has to offer. AMAC is America's leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization, guided by the principles of faith, family, and freedom. So when it comes to Medicare and so much more, think AMAC.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-976-9718. That's 1-800-976-9718, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
Free. The Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, Madam Secretary, just about a minute reaction, 2 minutes. I know you're tight on time, so thank you. But Sanctuary State, California, this is from Breitbart.com. ICE arrests illegal alien convicted pedophile who was found living inside of a daycare for children. And that sounds almost so grotesque to be true, but it is true. I don't know if you know the details surrounding it, so maybe if you want to just take it more broadly. I'm sure you are learning some of the darkest elements imaginable that are just hiding in plain sight of people that are illegals in our nation.
Yeah, absolutely. And this individual, he'd been deported 3 different times. He's a documented member of a gang. He has an extensive criminal record. He's got convictions for sexual abuse of a child, sexual battery, all of this. Meanwhile, he's living with his wife, who has an in-home daycare. So he had his own little arrangement there to feed his pedophilia. And he was here illegally in California, and their leadership was protecting him. So thank God for our ICE officers that are out there every single day going after these individuals so that we can protect our kids and protect our future.
Thank you for your great work. I say this on behalf of the audience. If we can get to 10 million deportations in the span of 4 years, that will be a triumph and will be better for the nation. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Okay, after hearing from Secretary Kristi Noem, I now have another great interview I did in Aspen with my good friend Tyler Boyer. We talk all about what he is doing with Turning Point Action, what we are doing with Turning Point Action. I think you'll love it. Check out tpaction.com to get involved. That is tpaction.com. Tyler has been with us, everybody, count him, for 10 years. He has been with us for 10 years. He is the mastermind of the Campus Victory Project and also the CEO of Turning Point Action. So we have about 35-ish minutes with Tyler. Is that about right? Guys, we're going to blow all of our time today. But I do want to be able to get to some audience questions. And this is going to be all, I want to talk about politics in particular. Elections, what did we learn, the state of what's happening right now, the state of the RNC, the grassroots, the establishment, so much happening. So first, Tyler, how you doing?
Charlie, it's good to be here. I got to match Alex's energy here.
Good luck. That's Maha energy, I'll tell you what.
That's Maha energy. But I'm actually following a lot of those
protocols. You look great. Tyler looks great, doesn't he? I'll tell you.
No more fast food, no caffeine, no soda.
That's big for you.
Yeah, huge.
That
was into the last election. The number one advice I can give everybody is you got to quit Celsius, all the caffeine, all that.
I totally agree.
It just kills you.
So if you don't know what Celsius is, don't stay away from that stuff.
The monsters, the white monsters.
So Tyler, you ran the largest ever ballot chasing operation in Republican Party history, 1,000 full-time people. I was able to take credit for it and kind of watch it from afar, but you hired the people, you sourced the people. What did you learn through that entire process?
We had, for all of those that are listening that have run a business, that have housed hundreds of people in a business, that comes with a lot of struggles. The hiring process alone, identifying the right people to be able to accept, adopt a culture, and then get into the job is what's part of building a business. That's what we've done at Turning Point so well, on the backs of a lot of really great advisors that have helped us along the way. So it's great that at Turning Point we had a brand that we could attract people to, and that we had a culture that we could attract people to. A lot of political operations don't have that. And so we've been really blessed because people could look at Charlie and see the Charlie Kirk show every single day and go, I want to be part of that. And they could see the brand that Turning Point USA had built and say, I want to be part of that. That's unique, and that's what I think enabled us. You and I sat down and talked about this, and we looked around and we said, there's nobody actually doing the whole political operation the right way. C4s, PACs, they've just for years just kind of come in at the last minute, raise a bunch of money from donors, and then they just throw whatever they possibly can in the sloppiest way possible at an election. And that's not enough to win. You have to do it the way that the left does it, which is the left has for years been talking and harping about the community organizer model, the relationship building model. Every customer that's out there that's a voter, trying to get them to over the line to vote for maybe the first time in a long time, or for the first time ever, especially when we talk about the youth voters and why we had so much success and such a dramatic increase with youth voters, is because when you focus in your conversations that right way, then it works. And for us, that blends with the hiring process, because anyone that understands that and actually drills deep into the process, the brand, the culture of what we're trying to do, it becomes easier. But hiring 1,000
people, what period of time did you have to hire 1,000 human beings to go chase ballots in the Arizona sun?
Well, we were very, very lucky because we have, again, a lot of people who are already near and dear to us.
College students,
volunteers,
members of TPUSA,
full-time staff, that people who used to work for us, who used to work for us, their parents, uncles, aunts, siblings. So again, that's why it's so important to establish long-term credible organizations in places that matter, like Arizona, like other places, other swing states. We need a Turning Point-esque operation in every swing state.
Yes.
But to the point is, you still have challenges. You still have to vet every single one of these people individually. You have to look at their entire social media background. You have to pull all of their past there. You do a background check on every single person. You can't just hire willy-nilly. And then when they got hired, as you're aware of many of these issues, is you have people who do crazy things.
Why the full-time model? Why, Tyler, did you not say, let's just hire people part-time and use volunteers? Why did you make the argument that full-time labor was essential for this operation, successful operation?
It wasn't even us that made the argument. The left made the argument for us, right? Because the left actually years ago, about 25 years ago, started putting full-time people in every swing
Blueprint
state.
was part of that here in this state.
Yeah, so where we are right now in Colorado, this is where it was born. You have the combination of Arabella and Democracy Alliance, and without getting into all the details.
Yeah.
Well, Arabella's essentially the funding mechanism that's able to go out and do a bunch of special projects that enables the left to do a bunch of crazy things. Whenever you see something crazy, you're like, how did that enter the zeitgeist? It probably came from Arabella's infrastructure, and we have full presentations on this. But here in Colorado is where CODA started, the Colorado Democracy Alliance, and that was intended to replace the Democrat Party in Colorado.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
When surprise breakdowns happen, American Home Shield will be there to fix or replace parts of the systems and appliances you rely on every day. They help protect your time and money by connecting you with qualified pros and helping pay for covered repairs or replacements. AHS offers flexible and affordable plans for every home. Sign up today and get 50% off. Visit ahs.com or call 833-PLAN-AHS for this limited time offer.
Yep, your worst nightmare. Your car broke down. Now you're worried if it's going to cost you a fortune in repair bills. Unless you already called CarShield, the legit #1 auto protection company in the country. When you're protected with a plan through CarShield, the process is smooth like ice and done in as little as 3 steps. 1. First, the tow truck takes your car to the shop. The cost of towing, covered when you got a plan through CarShield. Next, you'll probably need to get around while your vehicle's being repaired, right? 2. Plans through CarShield have rental car options too. Then comes the best part. 3. When you pick up your vehicle, you don't have a big repair bill to worry about. CarShield administrators get your covered repairs paid directly to the shop, so you're back on the road with no worries. Call now to get an affordable plan through CarShield for your vehicle before it's too late. When you call CarShield, whether you got a small problem like a power window motor that could cost a few $100s, or a big problem like an engine or transmission that could cost you thousands of dollars, you're taken care of. CarShield is the #1 auto protection company in the country, and their administrators have paid out more than $1 billion in auto repairs. That's billion with a B. CarShield is the choice that gives you the CarShield guarantee. Your rate never goes up, and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Look, it's inevitable. As your car or truck ages, the parts and components are gonna fail. It's not worth the risk. Call CarShield now.
Waiting until your car breaks down is too late. Call CarShield for coverage on up to 5,000 parts and get the CarShield guarantee, where your rate never goes up and your coverage never goes down, no matter how many claims you have. Call 800-653-8201. 800-653-8201.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrance Bates. We're continuing to learn more about what may have motivated this week's shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church. We're also hearing from the father of 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel. This is Fletcher here on your screen. He's one of 2 kids who were killed in that heinous attack.
Please remember Fletcher for the person he was and not the act that ended his life. Give your kids an extra hug and kiss today. We love you, Fletcher. You'll always be with us.
As for the continuing investigation into the attack, Minneapolis police and federal officials say the 23-year-old killer was familiar with the church and the school attached to it.
The shooter expressed hate towards almost every group imaginable. There appears to be only one group that the shooter didn't hate. One group of people who the shooter admired. The shooter idolized some of the most notorious school shooters and mass murderers in our country's history.
In other headlines, today marks the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. The storm remains one of the most devastating in U.S. history. On this day in 2005, Katrina blew ashore as a powerful Category 3 storm. Katrina devastated much of the Gulf Coast from Louisiana east to the Florida Panhandle. It also killed more than 1,830 people, along with causing over $115 billion in damage. However, it is the pictures and video of entire communities being flooded, people trying to escape the floodwaters on their roofs, and displaced New Orleans residents housed in the Superdome that remain the enduring images of this tragedy. Former Vice President and Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris is on her own after President Trump canceled her Secret Service detail. Former vice presidents typically get 6 months of Secret Service protection after leaving office, while President Biden extended her protection beyond that 6 months until January of next year. President Trump rescinded the extension. The move comes as the former vice president is set to embark on a 15-city book tour for her memoir about her unsuccessful presidential run. That tour is scheduled for September, and her detail is being pulled effective September 1st. That's a quick check.
Of the MAGA doctrine and president of Turning Point USA. Here's Charlie Kirk.
Okay, here's more with Tyler Boyer, but first I want to tell you guys about My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is an amazing way to be prepared. The summer isn't just hot, it's historic. Flash flood warnings are at a 40-year high, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. Towns are underwater, roads are washed out, and in every crisis zone, the same scene, crowds standing in line, waiting for bottled water, waiting for food, waiting for someone to show up and save them. They tell you that help is on the way, but what if it's not? What if help takes days or doesn't come at all? You think the system's built to protect you? Well, they can barely handle one emergency, let alone dozens. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be the one caught empty-handed. And right now, My Patriot Supply is giving 4 weeks of emergency food away for free. Just go to mypatriotsupply.com/KIRK. That is mypatriotsupply.com/Kirk for a free 4-week food supply. Join millions of Americans who are preparing with My Patriot Supply. Claim your 4-week food kit today at mypatriotsupply.com. That is mypatriotsupply.com. Portions of the Charlie Kirk Show are brought to you in part by mypatriotsupply.com.
Because what the Democrats realized early on that the Republican Party still hasn't figured out is that the party itself, the apparatus, is actually pretty useless. It actually is worse than useless. It gets in the way more times than it actually helps. And so what the Democrats here in Colorado did was they realized, oh, we are going to create a alternate party structure outside of the party. And again, we're going to call it Democracy Alliance. And this is the permanent infrastructure that we're going to build because we can't count on the Democrat Party to actually show up and do all the right things. And they did that, and they did it very well. And they did it so well, they were able to spread it across the entire country. And Colorado Democracy Alliance became Democracy Alliance. And our side is still kind of going, oh, well, we got to check in with, again, not to throw Mitch McConnell, all of the.
I don't think there's any Mitch McConnell fans here.
Establishment checkpoints before you fund everything.
But this is an important point. So the Democrat infrastructure was always outside of the party. And one of the reasons we were able to win in 2016 and 2024 is not because of infrastructure we helped, but because Donald Trump is a once in 100-year candidate.
Right.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
It was just so outrageous, so in a good way, like so overwhelmingly positive and popular that it forgave all the sins of the Republican infrastructure.
So this is the most important point, Charlie, is that you have to have a candidate that enables that outside organism to actually survive. So if you don't have candidates that are actually exciting for those people to come take the job and work, for those people to show up and knock the doors and build relationships 2 years out, you can't do it. Donald Trump actually unlocked something because for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, the general populace was like, I want to go work for that guy. And that's what enables that relational organizing, community organizing model to work. And so the Democrats have actually been focused on this. Then this is what Obama unlocked for them. Obama was able to get people out and get people excited. This is actually where they're struggling, is because they're at the national level really lacking that interest. Our side has to realize that and realize, hey, moving forward, after Donald Trump, you're going to have to make sure that the people love and want to get up and work for that person who's running.
So part of what we are building, and more specifically what you are building that we're doing together, is trying to build an outside party organizational apparatus that is not at odds necessarily with the establishment Republican Party at all times. We'll pick some fights every so often if they go out of control, like Liz Cheney or McConnell.
Yeah, destructive stuff. Yeah.
But instead, it is an outside organization what can an outside organization do that the party itself cannot do? Again, I'm not knocking the RNC. I get along with Chairman Whatley. He's running for the Senate. We've come a long way since Ronna McRomney. And Tyler deserves credit because he picked the fight first. We just finished it. And I believe that if she would remain chairman, Donald Trump would not be president today. I'm sorry. I could prove that point. I think if Ronna would have stayed and ran the RNC, Donald Trump would not have won in November. I think she would have prevented Donald Trump's victory, believe it or not.
No question.
But anyway, and that's not a knock at Trump. That's just a knock at Ronna. But Tyler, what can an outside organization do? Why is it different? How is it funded differently? What are the flexibilities? Right. Why does it matter?
So everybody knows there's a number of different things that the party can't do that outside or nonprofits can do. And the first and foremost, and the first big problem is just funding limitations. Parties can only accept so much money in most states.
$900,000 a year.
Yeah, but then it drills down into candidates. So
it's very complicated.
Candidates can only collect so much per person per year. When you get into the outside, obviously we know independent expenditures, things like that. But this is the problem that exists is the candidate cycle in America is essentially 2 years, right? So most people don't announce that they're running more than 2 years before they're actually going to run. It's typically less than that. The average is usually less than a year, believe it or not. And there's no possible and fundamental way that you can build a campaign infrastructure that can do all the things that are necessary to win if the other side is doing them full time. So the first and foremost is hiring, door knockers, hiring people that are going to build effective relationships for you out in the field. The second is legal. There's no way that you're going to be able to fight a fight with someone in the remaining 60 days of the election if your opponent's been basically crafting an entire legal strategy against you for 2 to 4 years. And this is part of what the lawfare thing has been done to Donald Trump that nobody ever talks about.
And to you.
Is the outside, and to me, which is, we're winning this thing, but you have a real struggle with that. The third thing, which is most critical with parties that people never talk about too, is that most people don't realize those that have been involved, who here has been involved with like their local Republican Party? Okay. A little more than half the room. If you've ever walked in.
That's good though. That's more than
great.
expected.
When you walk in, how has your experience been in that fundamental time?
The DMV is better.
It's a little crazy.
I'd rather go through TSA.
It's a little gritty. Sometimes you walk in, there's like kind of just fighting happening that's going on. You don't really know what's going on, and people challenge.
They have fax machines. Everybody.
Some of it's really old. So when I took over, when I was the county chairman in Maricopa County over 10 years ago now.
It's amazing.
10 years ago, I was in my mid-20s, and my average precinct committeeman was 71. So there's sometimes a cultural divide that happens. But the most critical part is that most of those jobs for leadership are 2 years or less, right? So they're 2 years. The average state party chair, Charlie, only serves for a year. States like Hawaii have gone through like 5 or 6 in the last couple of years. So you have a real problem when you have the party leadership only being able to survive for months. And by the time they get in, they get their feet wet, they're figuring it out. It's already 6 months down the road. They're almost checking out by the time they check in. So there's no way for the party itself to actually do the job that everyone claims when they become chair that they're doing.
Yes.
And that was the Ronna problem that you brought up. The fundamental problem with Ronna, she was going across the entire country telling everyone she was doing all the work that was necessary to win. And upon further inspection, none of that was being done.
So then how are we at Turning Point Action going about fixing this?
Yeah. So the outside model works. We proved that this last election cycle. The largest swing of any state was Arizona, and it wasn't by any mistake. It was hard, nose to the grindstone, boots on the ground, as Charlie says, tennis shoes and clipboard work.
We gave it all we had.
That was throwing absolutely everything you possibly can.
We threw everything we had.
Everything. I mean, we literally just like unleashed on the state. And the outcome was exactly what we expected. Was that we had a body of about 400,000 people who did not vote in 2016 or 2020. And Charlie brought up something earlier today. That was a really funny story. We had people that we knocked on their doors. They were the biggest Trump fans that you've ever seen in your entire life. In fact, there was one story that I tell all the time. A guy we knock on his door. He did not vote in the last 2 elections, including 2020. Knock on his door. and start talking to him. He's like, what do you do for work? And our person said, oh, I work for Turning Point. They're like, wait a minute. They slam the door, run around to their garage, open their garage, and it's like, a shrine to Trump, every Trump flag that you can possibly have. And on top of that, Turning Point, because in 2020 and 2022, the Republican Party ran out of yard signs for Trump. So we started producing our own. We produced tens of thousands of yard signs in key target states and gave them out.
Yep.
This gentleman had every single Turning Point action yard sign for Trump, did not vote in that election. Did not vote in that election.
The real thing, guys.
And Charlie, the number one thing that we ask people, we assume that when we talk to people, their number one reason for not voting was they just didn't care about voting.
Not true.
That's not true.
That's not right.
The number, you don't remember what the number one thing is?
They didn't know how.
They didn't know how, or they thought they already did.
Well, that's the other thing, right? I voted for Trump in the primary 2 years ago. Doesn't that count? Can't they just grandfather it in?
This guy who did not vote had voted sporadically in primaries. He'd voted sporadically in other midterm elections or not less important elections like city council stuff that's off the grid and stuff like that. So he was kind of in and out, but missed the presidential, the big one, because he thought...
And he missed the Kerry Lake election.
And he swore up and down he had voted. And so you have
and we know because we have the voter file, right?
We have all the data. It's there. Yeah. And it wasn't like, oh, well, his ballot got rejected and came back. He didn't vote. He did not turn in his ballot. And so... you have these situations where you have people that are under the impression that they voted. There's a subset of people who just wake up and it's the worst day of their month or year is on election day. There's a percentage of America that's that. The second is you have a bunch of people who legitimately think that watching Fox News is voting.
Correct.
Or listening to the Charlie Kirk
or
show.
Even worse, giving money to Trump is voting. They're like, oh, I give $5 a month. That's my vote.
Yeah, my poor grandmother, and this is why I actually believe this. My grandma just called me again. My grandma's in her mid-80s. She's getting up there, and she's kind of losing sight of things. She just called me the other day, and she said, I just got another message that I've been taken off the Republican Party rolls. What's going on?
No, it's these predatory emails that they've got to stop sending.
And it's the emails. But this is part of the problem that you bring up, Charlie, is when people donate then, they think that they've done something. And it's actually replacing voting habits by sending these predatory emails.
I agree.
That's actually really, really bad. And the RNC, when it does it, or whoever else that does it,
there's no excuse for it.
You can't do it.
Does anyone sick of those email messages you guys get, right? I feel like they've calmed down a little bit the last couple months, maybe. I don't know.
No, they haven't. Because my grandma just called me.
Do you guys are they still doing it in the summer of 25?
And my grandma will listen to this because she's a Charlie Kirk super fan.
I love it.
And she's on Rav every single day. Like it's like her entire she watches and listens to you more than she listens to my mom, who's supposed to be taking care of her right now. So anything you say, she's gonna do. But this is part of. So she's gonna hear this. But this is part of it is that it's really critical for us to focus first and foremost. This is why at Turning Point and Turning Point Action, when we send out emails, we are talking about the things that we're doing.
Yes.
The work that we're doing.
Real work. So I want to get to some questions because people I know are chomping at the bit on the political question here. But Tyler, let me ask you a provocative one. The Republican Party institutionally is out of alignment with its voters.
Yes.
What is the plan? How do we get the Lindsey Grahams, Before we end this segment, I want to tell you guys about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is amazing. Get out of pain today with 100% drug-free Relief Factor. Have you ever been in a bad relationship? You know, the kind that just wears you down. You settle in, even though deep down you know this is not how it's supposed to be. That's exactly what daily aches and pains can feel like. You stop expecting to feel good. You start thinking, maybe this is just life right now. But it doesn't have to be. With Relief Factor, you can break up with pain, just like Anthony did as he writes in, saying he was dealing with debilitating pain and fatigue. You've been taking Relief Factor for about 2 months, and now back to running his business, fishing, gardening, and doing the things that really matter. Producer Andrew takes Relief Factor. He loves it. He is back in motion thanks to it. And Relief Factor is 100% drug-free. It targets the inflammation that causes pain so you can move better, feel better, and actually enjoy life again. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF, break up with pain, and get back to what matters.
Time to take a survey for our disabled veterans? Do you have time to take a survey? Hey, do you have time to take a survey? Hey, ma'am. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Well, I'm with Disabled American Veterans. Do you have a moment to chat?
Yes.
Awesome. If you had the opportunity to say thank you to a disabled veteran, do you know what you would say?
I feel like I just thank him for what he's done for me, you know?
We actually have that opportunity right now.
Oh my God.
If you turn around, we have one of our veterans with us.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Mike. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I just want to thank you so much for risking your life for me and everyone here. And I thank you for the sacrifices you made. And I appreciate you.
You seem a little emotional. What's going on?
I looked down at your arm and I shook your hand and I realized that you did it at the cost for me. You did it for me and you didn't have to, and I just thank you for sacrificing yourself for me.
It's okay. I'd do it again and again.
You can show your gratitude as well when you call the number on your screen right away, or go to helpdav.org today with your monthly gift of only $19. When you do, we'll send you your very own DAV blanket as a symbol of the care you're making possible for veterans.
When you support DAV, you're supporting veterans like me when we need you the most.
Please call or go online to helpdav.org right away. Your monthly gift makes a difference in the lives of our veterans, now and into their future.
100% American made. And darn proud of it. The Charlie Kirk Show.
Okay, it's time to tell you about our great partners at YRefi. Do you know someone that is suffering from privately held student loan debt? Well, YRefi is the way out. Private student loan debt in America totals about $300 billion. When the payment on your distressed or defaulted private student loan is so big that you can't ever get ahead in your finances, YRefi is surely your best option. When the payment, again, is just making you suffer, you can get out of debt. YRefi can reduce your monthly payment and guarantees interest rates under 6%, ensuring affordability and financial relief. YRefi.com is not a debt settlement company, and they work with each borrower individually. So go to YRefi.com. That is YRefi.com. Bad credit is accepted. And do you have a co-borrower? YRefi can get them released from the loan, and you can give mom or dad a break. You can even skip a payment every 6 months up to 12 times without penalty. Just call 888-YRefi34 or log on to YRefi.com. That is YREFY.com. May not be available in all 50 states. Before another segment we have with Tyler, I want to tell you guys about the TikTok Economic Impact. It's TikTokeconomicimpact.com. TikTok has helped U.S. businesses contribute over $24 billion for the U.S. economy. That's real money flowing into small businesses, like Arizona Taco King, who went viral on TikTok and hit $1.3 million in sales in their first year. We've gone super viral on TikTok. It's incredible. Billions and billions of views. We're able to win the youth vote and win over so many young people thanks to TikTok. And now, our ability to go viral on TikTok, I should say. And now they're helping more staff to keep up. Or Bluff Cakes, who started as a home baking side hustle and became a national cookie brand. Or the She Mechanic, whose business tripled in just 1 year with help from TikTok. Now she's in a bigger space with a bigger team. TikTok is helping small businesses thrive, and that's adding up to more jobs, more growth, over $24 billion flowing through the U.S. economy. Learn more about TikTok's contribution to the U.S. economy at TikTokeconomicimpact.com. That is TikTokeconomicimpact.com. Portions of this program are brought to you in part by TikTokeconomicimpact.com. Chuck Grassley's great on almost everything, but he's terrible on this blue SIP thing. This is where the grassroots is the most frustrated. They're like, okay, we voted for Trump, we donate, we knock on doors. Why are our Republicans so terrible? How do we fix that?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to like. And
okay.
First, the first thing is that some of this has just got to time itself out. which is like they have to decide to resign and go back. And, I think America was intended to be what George Washington and Thomas Jefferson intended to be, which was go in, do your job, and get the heck out, right? Go in, be there for a short amount of time, and then go enjoy your grandkids and go enjoy your family and your business that you built your entire life and your state.
Agree. Totally.
And this is the biggest problem. And I'll use Arizona as an example. John McCain was not in good health when he decided to run his last time. He died in the middle of his term. People lost their minds when everybody said, are you sure you're in, when a couple of people asked the question, are you sure you're in good enough health to run again? He could have easily stepped down. And you know what that would have meant for Arizona? That a consolidation would have happened. We would probably still have another Republican senator, at least one.
That's so true.
Because in 2016, we had the ability to get somebody in there, and then the Democrats didn't spend $100 million each cycle.
Yep.
And so it's a selfless thing to get in, I think, into public office and then make the self-determination that I'm not going to be there forever. And I think that that's an education thing that's really important that Turning Point is doing and Turning Point Action is doing. We have the Mount Vernon Project.
Go really quick. Scorecard, Mount Vernon Project, all the stuff.
So we have one of the most inclusive scorecards that's in the conservative movement.
What's the website?
tpaction.com/scorecard.
And we rate all members of the House and the Senate, right?
All of the federal members. And then we actually have started in on the states. So you can go in at the state legislative level now and actually look at how your people are doing. And we put it all right there, all in real time. Most scorecards don't do things in real time. They go back years. Ours is in real time, so you know how they're doing in real time. Then the second thing we have is Mount Vernon Project, which is we focus mainly on the Republican National Committee because the Republican Party, if it gets fixed, a lot of the country gets fixed. Part of the reason why, to follow up your question, is like, what do we do about some of these people? Well, it would be nice if the Republican Party had cojones every once in a while and would step up and say, hey, Lindsey, your time's up, dude. Like, it's done. Like,
enough of this.
Your state doesn't have term limits, but guess what we have here at the Republican Party? It's term limits. So you're done or whatever, right? Like that, you don't need laws on term limits if your party's actually enforcing term limits.
Yep.
And so a lot of people, it drives me crazy when people are like, oh, well, I guess we don't have term limits. And sometimes we get a good person in and we want them in for 40 years. And it's like, yeah, but that's like 1 out of a million, right? Like you'd only have so many of those. Most are horrible at the end part of their career, and we got to get them out. And they're totally disconnected by the end of their terms, by the way, with the general public.
Let's do 10 minutes of questions, and we have Dr. Orr in 10 minutes. We're just going to keep flowing, everybody. So let's do some questions, because this, Tyler in particular, I know elicits a lot. So let's.
I'll say this real quick while
Brian, will you
people
get ready
are
for
raising hands here.
Raise your hands, guys, if you have a mic.
We're working our butts off. Our team right now is working their tails off on Arizona, New Hampshire, Nevada. We've laid the groundwork in Iowa for all 99 counties for heading into 2028. We have a great amount of work that's going on too. So happy to answer questions on that.
We got about 10 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Are you guys seeing a movement of money from the RNC, from the Republican Party and individual donors over to Turning Point and other groups that are spending time on the...
Yeah, let me start there. Yes, but we're not trying to take donors away from the RNC. If donors want to stop giving the RNC, that's all of your own agency and ability. But yes, let me talk more about the NRSC than the RNC, because we want to have a good working relationship with the RNC. It is up to no one's benefit, not to the country, the RNC, or Trump, best interest for us to be at war with the RNC. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have an amazing Labor Day weekend. God bless you all. Talk to you soon.
If we've learned anything over the past few years, it's that devastating events can strike without warning. Global pandemics, acts of terror, and even bank collapses that can cause chaos in a matter of moments. And I just want you to be prepared. Hi, I'm Donald Trump Jr., and it's for these reasons that I strongly recommend a gold IRA from my trusted friends at the Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, gold has protected wealth through every kind of crisis. Birch Gold can show you how to move your retirement savings into an IRA in gold, legally and tax-free. For decades, they've helped thousands of Americans protect their IRA or 401k from unexpected events. To learn more, Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group, the only gold company I trust. Don't wait for the next crisis to strike. Take action now to protect your family's financial future. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's anti-kibble breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
They tried to shut them up.
There's no guarantee to free speech.
They tried to cancel them.
Deplatforming works.
They even threw them in jail.
Peter Navarro,
Steve Bannon,
now in prison.
But they couldn't stop them.
It's not a prison bill that will ever shut me up.
They call them rebels.
Basket of deplorables.
They call them rogues.
They claim to guns or religion.
And they say they're outlaws.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
War Room presents Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws.
You set out to take Vienna. Take Vienna!
The national bestseller by longtime Bannon producer Dan Fluette. Take a journey through the pictorial history of War Room in a culture that celebrates the weak. Show your support by standing with the rebels. Go to doitfluette.com or scan the QR code on your screen.